Hi, this is Dustin's mom, and I've never listened to None Taken.
Dude, this hurricane looks bad, man.
I saw people left Tampa for Orlando, and I'm like, well, that's still Florida, but I guess it's inland, so they won't get like storm surge.
Bad. Yeah, they're saying 165 mile an hour winds with 200 mile an hour gusts.
Jesus. But that's still over the ocean, right? Like it's not landing
is.
until tomorrow or Thursday.
Tomorrow or Thursday morning, yeah. Dude, is Mike still in Fort Myers? Because that's like right in the path, dude.
Fuck,
dude.
I think Buzz is in Fort Myers too.
Sarasota, 10 to 15 foot surges, 5 to 10 in Spring Hill is what's anticipated. Yeah, it's. I mean, we just got hit in North Carolina, and now this is looking.
No, this is going right across the peninsula, right? Like bands of weather will hit the areas that have been affected northern, but they probably will have.
Yeah, so it's going to hit on the Gulf side and then go across. The Gulf side is going to get the worst of it, but it's going to go all the way across.
But it'll hit like southern Georgia kind of as it goes into the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Okay, so less into like the Carolinas and stuff, right?
Right.
This is Hurricane Milton, right?
Milton, yes.
Milton? Who's naming these things?
They pick out all the names in advance.
Remember this guy?
My death one more time, then I'm quitting. I'm going to quit. I used to be over by the window, and I could see
squirrels.
The squirrels, and they were married.
They were married squirrels.
But then they switched from the swing line to the Boston stapler. But I kept my swing line stapler. I didn't receive my paycheck this week. I believe you have my stapler.
That's Milton.
Last time I didn't receive a piece, and I was told that
Remember, he wasn't allowed to keep the pie.
If they moved my...
he had to keep passing the meal, and he never got his cake.
Okay, I could set the building on fire.
Set the building on fire. Every time they say Milton, I keep thinking, yeah, my stapler, my swing line. Yeah. Okay.
Good times.
Not doing jokes about that. Sorry. Well, I had to, and I planned it. So here, I prepared my sheet. I'm going to read it. I did have a little like interesting thing I wanted to show you before we got into the show. Did you know there's a guy running for office in Wyoming named Gary Crum?
I was not aware. No.
Okay. Gary Crum.
Gary Crum.
Picture the name in your head. Okay.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
I want you to go ahead and open this link, but don't open it yet. Be prepared to open it until I'm going to read a sentence out loud that I wrote. So there's a war going on between people with blue paint and people that are repainting R's back onto the sign. If you don't understand what I mean, go ahead and open that up and explain it to the listeners.
Okay.
Gary Crum.
Gary Crum.
So they're painting over the Gary... The R's in Gary and Crum with the blue paint to match the background.
Oh, okay. So if you do that, then it's you get gay cum is what you get.
Yes. Guess what?
Guess what?
I won't get much better than that. That was great. All right. Let's do a little funny sound. We'll open the show proper, shall we?
Let's.
We like this guy Hoff Matthews. He was interviewing Bill Clinton back in 1999. This is October 7th, 1999.
Wow.
It's 10 years ago, right, Alan?
Exactly. 10 years ago.
15,
just a decade.
Sorry, 15 years ago. Yeah. So are you a fan of any of the Resident Evil movies?
I liked the first one.
Did you? I couldn't tell you anything about any of them.
I really
other than that one chick's hot.
Yeah. Is it Mila?
I forget. Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Well, did you know Bill Clinton tried to put a stop to all of this, and we should have listened to him? We could have listened to him.
Let's hear it.
Here's the interview. Nobody remembers this interview.
Mr. President, are you looking forward to the Resident Evil movie that's currently in development?
No, I'm not interested. Look, that's a game, and that's wrong.
Don't let me in his damn house.
Should I record? Yeah, one.
Guy had a point.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
I am ready. Are you recording?
Yes. All right. Well, you want to start a show?
Let's start a show.
That podcast is filling your head with garbage.
No offense taken there.
Well, it sounds like none taken. all the things I just ain't got the green. I got the things that just ain't got the mean. Ask your mama, she'll say the same thing. I got all the things I just ain't got the mean.
Boom. Welcome, boys, girls, and gays, to episode number 407 of None Take It. Got all four categories, Alan. The internet's only debate and current events show with your hosts, Dustin and Alan. Two political nomads from two different worlds. Shout out to Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band for the use of their song Ways and Means for intro music. And thank you for joining us. The time of this recording, it is Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. That's my birthday. Hey, it's a great day for America. We are two coastal elites. Coming to you from the shores of the mighty Cumberland in Madison, Tennessee, all the way to the Pacific waters of El Cerrito, California. Here to recap another week of current events and sharing way too much of our tragic personal lives, and taking a sledgehammer to the old culture war echo chambers. Please subscribe right now wherever you're listening to this. You can subscribe multiple ways. You can just, maybe a friend told you about this show. Maybe you're some guy I met at a bar while I was in Knoxville and you're trying the show for the first time and you didn't subscribe. You just downloaded one episode. Go subscribe right there on the phone. It's right there. Yeah. There's other ways. For the low price, start $3 a month. You can join the Patreon, and that gives you access to video of what we're doing, because there are some video elements to this, so it just enriches the experience for you. Those are all on. Those have YouTube links. So if you have YouTube Premium, you can close your phone, put it in your pocket, you can still listen to it that way. The other thing you get from that is we do a hidden track. So before we go on our syndicated broadcast, all the affiliates, we do a local broadcast to the people that catch this over the air in our local communities.
Right.
That's our Patreon. So y'all get about 30, sometimes 40 minutes of hidden track while we sort of warm up and riff on things that maybe aren't suitable for everyone to hear, but cool. We trust you to hear that.
Yeah, they're
kind of
fun.
how that goes. There's some other stuff at the Patreon. Alan will tell you about that.
So you get access to the hidden tracks, like Dustin said. You also get early access to all our interviews that sometimes we'll record and maybe put it on the main feed maybe a month or two later. You get them right away. Wake up the next day after we record a show and the video is right there for you to check out. Also, if you don't want to do the video component, there is an RSS feed up there for you.
We post audio of everything on there as well.
So you can pop that into your whatever podcast player you use. It'll be right there in your player the next day for you to listen to. So lots of cool stuff there at the Patreon. Also, if you join at the $18 level, Dustin will send you a Culture War veteran t-shirt. You got to DM him, though. It doesn't happen automatically.
And if you don't want to subscribe and you just want that shirt, they're available at the store, which is available at nonetakenpod.com. Nonetakenpod.com for access to the Patreon, our merch, and to support the fine people that support us. Alan, who are they?
Slickitsdigital.com for all your SEO and marketing needs. Slickitsdigital.com.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Hope you all are having a great week. Dude, it has been so hot here in the Bay this week. I think we broke records. It got up to 100 here in El Cerrito, which never happens. I know for people listening across the country, it's been 100 here for a month already. But that's just very rare.
No, it's October. It should be chilling out,
It's been in the 90s. Today was the first day that kind of, I think it only got to 80. But it's been hot as hell here.
This is the first day I could justify wearing a jacket. I got this jacket in Knoxville.
It says it's very shiny. What does it say?
Diane.
Oh,
that's cool.
Who's Diane?
I don't know. Old broad.
Nice.
You don't see a lot of Dianes anymore, right?
Not so common anymore. No, it's true.
Yeah.
Diane.
I've been looking for a cool windbreaker jacket like this, and the fact that it has some random chick's name on it, I think it's pretty funny.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
If Tosh got a one that said Jack on it, you could be like Jack and Diane for.
Oh yeah, sucking on a chili dog outside the Tasty Freeze. Yeah,
exactly.
Oddly sexual Mellencamp. He knew what he was saying, right?
So happy birthday, bud! First of all, I know you had some fun little celebrating to get to over the weekend. What'd you get up to?
Do you want to do a shot? You got a shot available, or you just got mixed drinks?
I got mixed drinks. I don't have a shot.
Well, let me pour mine. I forgot to do that. I'll pour while we're talking.
Okay.
So yeah, we got up to some shenanigans. So I won't give away the mythical day job. I think some of you just super sleuths may have been able to piece it all together. But sometimes I work in kitchens and I have relationships with like chefs, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the chefs that I know, he's from Knoxville. And I was like, dude, we're going to Knoxville. He's like, I'll give you a list. I'll give you a list of places to go, right?
Nice.
So I was like, sweet, I got an insider giving me all this information about where to go, what to do. That way we don't just like trust like online reviews and things like that,
right.
It was like the third place we went that he had recommended when we realized that I think he's just a trash person.
Oh,
Dude, we went to this place called I think it was Calhoun's. It's like this big, like it's like a boat on a dock. You don't feel like it. It's like a dock, or I don't know. It's on the river, right?
Okay.
And there's like a deck, and there's an indoor and an outdoor. You feel like you're on a boat if it isn't. I don't know, whatever, right? It's like a seafood place on the water, but it has barbecue.
Yeah.
And I just looked at the menu. I was like, I'm at a fucking Chili's. Like, this is,
God.
like, I don't want this. I don't want this. Also, like, we told them it was my birthday, and they sat me on the fucking edge of the dock, like almost on land. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking look at the fucking like swirling like eddy of like trash water that's like gathering next to the shore. Like,
no bueno.
And so we're like, fuck it. Let's like, if all I want right now is barbecue, why don't we just go to a barbecue place where you get a fucking plate?
There's got to be a ton of them there.
Yeah. So I just went to like a meat and three place, and it was good.
Yeah.
So yeah, once we ditched his list, it became a lot better.
It's so funny.
One of the places he did recommend, so he was good for other recommendations, like places to party, right? Like, he had one that was like, they got good chicken wings there. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. Oh, hey, do you want to drink?
Yeah. Cheers.
Happy birthday, Alan.
Happy birthday, bud.
So good. One of the places he recommended was a place called the Jig and Reel, and
name.
Yeah. The band that was there Saturday night was doing like 80s covers, but with like a live band, like that with and not with like a synth or anything like that. Dude,
okay.
Have you ever seen anyone do a cover of Michael McDonald's I Keep Forgetting We're Not in Love Anymore?
That's oddly specific. And no, I have not.
No, I like it started off because it's the beat to Regulators. It's the beat to Regulators, right?
Right.
It starts off, I'm like, wait, is this I keep forgetting we're not in love anymore? If I do it too long, I turn into a border collie, right?
Were they good?
Dude, incredible. And I was getting up to go get a drink when that started, and I turned back around. I'm like, I'm sitting back down for this whole fucking song. Like I posted it, put it up as a reel or something. I was like so impressed with it. Yeah, they were fantastic. It was great.
That's awesome.
That place was a blast. Some things happened that affected me because I live in Nashville. So Alabama was the #1 team in the country. They played unranked Vanderbilt.
Yes.
In Nashville at Vanderbilt.
Right.
And lost to this is the like Vanderbilt hasn't beaten Alabama since 1984.
Holy shit. 40 years.
So Vanderbilt Stadium is like a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles from like the lower part of Broadway. So you know how Broadway goes right up to the Cumberland there?
Yeah.
The kids took the goalposts out of the ground, carried them up over their head all the way down Broadway, like lifting them up and going. Because now you're thinking like Broadway Nashville should close down like Bourbon Street or like 6th Street in Austin, but it doesn't. So there's cars there. So they're lifting it up and like carrying it over the cars that are in the street. They carried the goalpost all the way down and threw it in the fucking Cumberland.
That's crazy.
Which is Tennessee's thing. Tennessee does that. Like they've done that before when they had a huge upset. They threw it in the river there. By the way, dude, the river there was just mud water brown. Let's talk about that. So one of the things we wanted to do while we were in Knoxville, there's this little like nature preserve area that has trails, hiking trails on it. And one of the trails is like the river trail. And the river trail is called that because it's right next to the river. And many parts of it, they have like a boardwalk built into the side of the that goes right up to like the water level. And it's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
But we were asking like which trail has that because it wasn't obvious to me. I didn't know it. And the lady's like, oh, well, that one unfortunately is under 8 feet of water right now. So that's I was like, right. Yes, of course, the flooding.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So we did a different trail. And while we were doing that other trail, we saw people come back from the side where the river trail was. And they're like, you can just go. There's to say you can't go there, but it's open. It's not under fucking water. So we walked that way and it was fucking wild, man. Like the water was like right up to underneath the boards. And it was like, and this still sounds stupid. It felt like the river was being pumped. like there was like a churning, like it felt like, like I don't know. I feel really stupid describing it like that. You mean like a raging river? Like the river was just the sheer power of this overflow river, right?
Yeah. It's
just
when you
right under our feet.
Yeah, when you're like there and you can like hear it and see it and feel it, it's pretty impressive.
It's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a cool hike. The dogs loved it. We went back. I don't know. I'm not gonna give you a rundown of our whole fucking week.
Did you get like an Airbnb or how?
I've got fucking Hilton, dog. I did it all on points too. I didn't
You
spend
take the
any
dogs
money.
there?
Yeah. Hilton will let you do dogs.
That's awesome.
So there's like $100 on the trip for dogs, and it was like $30 a day for parking, and then like a little bit of like bar fees because we kept buying drinks. It still ended up spending like $250. But
It's not bad at all.
it's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah.
You were there like Saturday through
Today. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, it was great, dude. It was a great time. We were at the pool at the hotel, and Natasha pointed out that I have gray back hair.
Oh no.
Is it gray? I went to write this down. Is it gray or gray? Is it GRAY or GREY?
I never know that. I always
And I don't know which one's British.
I always spell it with an E, but I don't.
I like it
know.
with an E. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's. I've seen it both ways, so I don't know.
Yeah. I wish we knew that. Okay. I'm a silverback now. I'm 42. I've got gray back hair now.
Yeah, now you can.
I'm an
be
old ape. Yeah.
There you go.
That'll end up in the next reel. Yeah. I just have some random notes that I made. I didn't go over these before the show. Natasha was talking about the material she likes in salads.
Mm-hmm.
She look, I love Natasha, and I'm not making fun of her. Okay. I know she listens. But sometimes, there's words that like you never say out loud and you never really hear people say, so you just know how they are from how they're written down.
Yeah.
That spice that it's with like a C and a U.
Yeah.
And a M-I-N.
Yeah.
Cumin, right?
Cumin, yeah.
She says she likes cumin in salad.
Come on. Jesus said, come.
Continue to create calm.
How many have had the Holy Ghost come in you? Come on.
No, Walt's is telling us Coach Waltz is like, settle the fuck down.
Come on.
Come on.
Not come.
What?
Come on.
I'm a human and I'm coming.
I got him all there. Yeah, I told her I was doing this, so she might have forgotten because
I have never heard of anybody putting cumin in salad.
She puts it on like cucumbers or something. On top of a vegetable, I think.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I just eat what she gives me. It's good.
Yeah.
If she puts it in a salad. I mean,
I like cumin.
Yeah.
Make a
Maybe
nice.
she wasn't saying salad.
She's coming in something.
Yeah. You're in hot water, Alan. You don't want to be on her bad list. I don't know what she's doing.
I don't. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
We decided to walk alone at night to the local bar there.
Okay. Why do you say it like that? Walk alone.
Well, because, dude, actually, let me tell you this. This was the one thing about Knoxville I wasn't expecting. I knew it was like a small town vibe. Like there's not a lot of people there. It's a college town, right?
Sure.
It was fucking dead, which
Really?
was great for like, hey, I want to go to this bar. I want to get seated. I want to get, good service. Like all of that was 10 out of 10, especially because there wasn't any competition, right?
Right.
But like nobody was there. And we brought it up, I think yesterday, and the bartender was like, "Oh, it's fall break." Like it's fall break. Like it's not even Thanksgiving yet. Like
already? That's wild.
And Tennessee had an away game that day. So like, when they have a home game, there's an extra 100,000 people in the city for no reason. Yeah. So that plus tailgaters. So yeah, it was super dead, man. So with it being that dead, there was. It didn't feel any worse than any other city, but since it's such a small place, there was a lot of homeless. Like,
oh,
and they were like young homeless too.
Weird.
Yeah, it was a weird vibe. So we were walking from one bar to another, and Natasha was like, she's like, you know what? I'm going to take my necklace off. I'm going to put my ring around this way. Like, I looked at her. I was like, yeah, you look like Batman's mom right now. Like,
we're in Gotham. Yeah, you're a mark.
I had my boot gun. I was grateful, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was one thing that stood out. That was the homeless there. Okay. We went to this, we did a hike, Cades Cove, and we did this hike, and they kept telling us there might be bears in the trees. She's like, you're not going to see any bears. They're going to be up in the trees because they're foraging right now because they got to eat. They eat like 20 pounds a day right now before they hibernate.
Right.
And so I was taking this like panoramic shot because you could start to see all the color showing up on the leaves on the mountains. We were up in the Smokies, And while I'm doing the panorama, I'm like, what's that moving? What's that running right at us? And there's a fucking bear like running straight towards, because we were next to a tree. So he was going across a meadow, right?
Mhm.
So he was like booking it to cross the meadow because it's got instincts.
Right.
And then, but he was going towards the tree, not directly at us. And it was just a little bear cub. He was cute. I'll show him to you. He's a cute little guy. But then later on, we were driving and there was a bear right next to the car. And Natasha was all squared up to take a picture of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, she's got her window down. There's going to be a glare in that picture. So I rolled her window down and she freaked the fuck out. She was like, what the fuck are you doing? And she put her phone down and she tried to roll the window up, but I was holding the down button on it. So it couldn't go anywhere. I've had to apologize so much for this already. I am losing all my goodwill.
Oh, God.
Like, she has forgiven me and now she's not going to forgive me again.
No.
And then I rolled the window back up and she tried to take the picture and all she got a picture was the bear's
It
butt.
leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, all I have a picture of is this bear's ass. I'm like, sorry for that.
You ruined it, Dustin.
I did
The
ruin it.
feast.
She's like, I was all squared up to take a cool picture of this bear, like a foot away from me, like face and everything, and all I have is this bear butt. Shall we get into our comedy clips?
Let's do it.
That's
Let's
it.
do
Then we drove home today. Oh, we went to Buc-ee's twice. That was fun.
Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's.
Okay.
Buc-ee's. Yeah, I got these I got these beaver nuggets from Buc-ee's.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's it.
Good times, man.
Yeah, there's other stuff I'm forgetting about. Oh, I met a guy that's been doing relief stuff in North Carolina. I told him how guilty I felt that I was like that close and not helping. He's like, honestly, man, half of what's been pissing me off is just people in the way there. He's like, there's people and we'll have him on Thursday, so I don't want to mischaracterize it, but he was basically saying like, influencers and stuff just getting in the way, and then people going down there and spreading all this misinformation. That's just been really pissing him off. But he's in it for the right reason, so he'll be a good addition to our show. I'm really looking forward to that for our Thursday show. And he lives in East Nashville, so like we'll actually probably get to know him a little bit more.
Nice.
Comedy clips.
Let's do it.
Let's do the thrash submission. This is fuck if I know.
I had accidentally pepper sprayed myself.
Great.
Ran out of the bar, got to my car, and I did the only thing I could do. I ripped all of my clothes off, hoping that I had a change of clothes in the car. I'm talking out. We're talking fully naked, screaming in pain on the side of the road. Here's how I can tell you parking is bad in Los Angeles. Somebody pulled up behind me and put their blinker on to take my space. He's like, it definitely looks like you're leaving, bro. And I was like, as fast as possible.
This is Harrison Scopes with a K. Scopes.
I raced home as quickly as I could, got home, jumped in the shower, put that on full blast, and then the heat from the shower activated
I didn't think about this.
The pepper spray. I created a giant cloud of pepper spray in this bathroom that has no fan. I accidentally gas chambered myself in the shower. I have never felt closer to my Jewish ancestors in my life. They are rolling over in their mass graves as we speak. I promise.
Hey, Harrison Scopes, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
How much pepper spray did you get on yourself? Jeez, dude. You'd think you'd notice, like, oh, let's stop doing that.
I think a little goes a long way.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. I've never been pepper sprayed.
You
It
didn't.
seems like
You think you'd notice when you shower?
no. He had to take off
Or
all
you
of his.
think you'd notice that? Like, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm
wild.
guessing it was a lot. Like, I'm thinking this
Sounds
was
like a lot. Like he
I
emptied
think if you
the-
accidentally get pepper sprayed, it's like a bad accident. Like it went everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
Like by the time it gets on you, there's a lot of pepper spray involved.
There's a lot. There's a lot of pepper spray. Yeah.
This is Francisco De Carlo. Francisco De Carlo. And I'm doing this voice because he's talking about American English.
And the other reason why my English is very bad is because it's full of consonants. The Italian language is based on vowels. You can just use vowels if you come to Italy. You can say, hey, way, oh, which means carbonara. This is. There are some words in English I cannot pronounce because of the consonants. For example, architecture. Architecture.
He's just going to keep trying to say it for like 10 minutes. Hold on.
Architecture. Architecture. Sure. Okay. Shut up and cook something. Okay. Because it's dangerous for the throat. You know, a friend of mine, he was trying to say architecture and he died. So don't laugh too much. He was a very good friend. And I miss him so much. Was an architect, by the way. Another word, it's lichacha. Lichacha? Lichachor? Lichachor. Lichacha? What is it? Leave it alone. It's not true. It's lichachor. Lichachor. At the beginning, I thought it was like a Spanish dance. Like lichacha. Can you imagine my surprise when I went to a literature course with leggings on? It was a mess. And the other reason why
that lady hackling the whole damn time. I don't know any better. I was coughing out loud, man.
That was pretty funny. That was great.
Good. Thanks, Thrash. Bob Ferguson sent this one in. Bob Ferguson, I always want to call him Bobby Ferg. So Bobby Ferg. Oh, by the way, update. Ben Wonder's government name. He sent me a redacted license plate or driver's license.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, government name Ben Wonders. Pretty cool name, right?
It's a very cool name.
Yeah.
I've never met a Wonders before.
Like getting to the bottom of that story. At least, I bet there's a lot of people who are wondering if Ben Wonders that is your real name. It is.
It's real name.
Anyway, Bobby Ferg sent this one in, and I think it's going to upset people, or at least I don't care.
If you're against guns, consider this. Gun violence kills 30,000 people each year. So they should take away our guns, right? Car crashes kill 55,000. Should they take away our Asians?
Oh. I'm trying to get to the Taylor Swift there. Damn it. And I hit a Kamala. Well, she's Asian, right?
Yeah, that works.
They say she's Asian.
She was, and
then she became black.
Right.
That's what you're saying. We're naughty, Alan. We're a couple of naughty boys here. There's a good clip about why I don't fucking like crowd work. I think I found this one. I'm pretty sure I found this one. If you found it, let me know. I'll give you credit for sending it in. I don't want these fucking likes and things showing up on here. Okay. Here is comedy. This is when crowd work goes wrong.
Okay.
It turns out to be very funny, but you got to be sick and twisted like me, you, and the people that like our show.
Yeah, I feel like the world is finally back.
No.
It's always a negative person. It'll never be the same. You said it's not back? What's missing? Everything. Like what? Come on, that's too. You gotta get me specific. What is something that you had before COVID? You don't have it right now. And you're like, yo, come on.
Family.
Wait.
You think people didn't hear it?
Family.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My fault. I'm sorry for your loss. My fault. You know what? We could talk about other shit. It's cool. I forgot that was the big part of the whole. That was the main issue. You know what? See, that's why we ask questions, so we can learn not to. Again, like, it's not funny. Stop laughing. Family Guy, stop laughing. Okay.
That was it. Oh, thank good. Oh, good. I didn't.
That was very funny.
It's a short. It was very brief, Taylor.
Yes.
That's it. Let's get into our.
Oh,
I didn't load the fucking soundboard up. Oh, we gotta do it. We gotta do it. A la carte or something. There's a different word for this.
A la carte.
I don't know, Alan. It's bad for me. I gotta find it. We gotta get to our. How about that segment?
How about that?
I don't think I have an Isn't That Something in here. Didn't I have an Isn't That Something before?
Yeah.
We got this.
It's been.
It's not.
Oh, that's a classic.
For lack of Isn't That Something, we will be doing. You know what? It's a good opportunity to really explore the whole soundboard. But for now, I do have Kamala Harris.
How about that?
And
How about that?
Tom Segura. So let's start this with, speaking of comedy, we'll start with Saturday Night Live. So Saturday Night Live started their 50th season. And this is the first. Did you say, how about that?
No, I said, oh, wow. 50 seasons. That's like, wow.
That was right. Don't you remember when they did their 40th? Like, I guess that'd be about 10 years ago now.
That would check out. The math checks out.
If you're scoring at home, it's all adds up. So this is the weekend update. This is their first weekend update of the 50th season.
Well, it is our first show of the season, and there were so many insane political stories this summer, and everyone kept asking, are you so bummed you aren't on the air right now? And I was like, I have a feeling there's going to be more that happens when we get back. For example, 2 hours ago at a rally, Donald Trump called Kamala Harris, quote, a mentally disabled person. Just straight up. Which is amazing. I cannot believe that Trump admitted he lost the debate to a mentally disabled person. You can really tell that Trump is worried about this election because now he's just lashing out, hoping anything will work. Look.
I could have been sunbathing on the beach. You have never seen a body so beautiful. Much better than Sleepy Joe.
What are you talking about? You're saying you got a hotter body than Joe Biden? I'm starting to worry that bullet got a little more than just the ear. Well,
that's it. Okay. I think I do have that clip by itself later on where he talks about his body and his time on the beach. And
that clip is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live's pretty good. I don't know if it's in the show because I sort of slapped a lot of extra stuff in here today. But they're like their show open was fucking hilarious. Did you see that?
I'm not sure.
So they have. Do you see who's doing Biden now?
No.
They brought Dana Carvey back.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, he's done George Bush and now he does Joe Biden.
He actually has the perfect body type to do Biden.
Dude, he does a perfect Biden. Like it's so good. It's like, and he always says, "By the way," and like he'll start a thing with, "And by the way," and by the way. It's so good. And then he like walks around in the background while Kamala Harris is talking. Then he goes up and sniffs her hair. Like it's great. It's fucking great. Or we're not in, isn't that something? We're in. How about that? Mima sent this in. This is from the debate, and I don't know how we missed this. This might have been a part of the debate that I'm really shocked didn't get more headlines.
Take some cereal, bacon, 3.5 eggs, some chips, and maybe a little thyme. Put it into the oven for 18 months and just let it rot, and then it gets thrown out.
If Donald Trump were reelected, he will fart on children. That is immoral.
That is Reddit. I have a liter of come up my ship hole. A liter of what? a liter. Take some cereal, bacon, 3.5 eggs.
I'm doing it again. I want to hear it again.
Okay. Some chips. And put it into the oven for 18 months and just let it rot, and then it gets thrown out.
If Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will fart on children. That is immoral.
That is Reddit. I have a liter of come up my ship hole.
Yeah, you gotta come.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I got all these ones.
And after you come, you must put on your Mickey Mouse ear.
You know what? Speaking of pastors, I got a youth pastor bit. Sometimes, Alan, like I am really good at this by accident. I get so fucking lucky, I swear, man. This is a youth pastor. It could happen to anyone. If you were trying to say pitch a tent, now, first of all, you'd be thinking, I don't want to make a boner joke, right?
Right.
Okay. But secondarily, you'd probably be concerned that you don't say pinch a tit. I didn't unmute it. God damn it, Dustin. I set that up so well. Yeah, bragging about how lucky I was and didn't unmute it.
Go pinch his tits. Excuse me. Pinch his tits. Pinch his tits is what I said. And you heard nothing else here. This is church, my gosh. Then stop laughing. All right? Man.
Look at the guitar in the background. This is such youth pastor energy, right? His name's Caleb. 100% this guy's name's Caleb, right?
100%.
Am I red right now?
Yeah, Caleb.
Holy cow! To go pinch his tits.
Pinch his tits. Don't write that down.
That could be a good title.
Yeah. I think I got another one up my sleeve. We'll see. Pinch his tits. Josh sent this one in. Oh, this is some solid dating advice. This is really good.
Okay.
Josh, this is Felina's Josh. And he sent this to me, and then all I did was add it to the sheet and then send him a screenshot of it in the sheet, being like, thank you so much. This is great dating advice. I'm going to share it with our listeners.
Welcome to another edition of How to Handle Your Woman. Today's topic, nagging. These are 5 surefire ways on how to
Remember South Park with naggers? That was a really good bit. People who annoy you.
deal with it, passed down from generation to generation of smart men. Number 1, start measuring her neck. When she asks what you're doing, say it's for a feed bag. Because if she's going to act like a nag, she should eat like one too. Number 2, up the ante. Start doing things like using the same knife for jamming peanut butter without cleaning it off in between, or wearing your shoes inside the house. Her flabber will be so gassed she'll completely forget the original thing she was nagging you about. Number 3, take a nap. You can't hear her if you're sleeping. Number 4, invite her mother over. If they have a good relationship, it's a pleasant surprise. If not, guess who isn't their biggest problem anymore?
Honestly, that's the first good advice of the whole thing.
And number 5, blame the kids. Their dumb teenage brains won't remember if you told them or not, and now our anger is focused in the proper direction. Good luck, men. See you next time.
How about that? Some good advice, guys.
Yeah. How about that indeed?
How about that indeed? Youth pastor relationship advice. I got a clip from, oh man, this is flowing swimmingly. This is just, one thing right into another. It all makes sense. This has nothing to do with any of the other stuff. You win some, you lose some. This one has nothing to do with none of that other shit. But it does transition us well into Isn't That Something? And when we go to Isn't That Something, we play sounds like this.
Fuck them.
Because I don't have the fucking Isn't That Something sound. I don't want to play Tummy Sticks.
Let's play Tummy Sticks.
What's Tummy Sticks? I don't want to play Tummy Sticks.
I've been reading a book. I think I told you about this book.
Yes.
The On Freedom.
Tim Snyder.
Pad for me a little bit. Talk about who that is. I'm going to get this.
So Tim Snyder, the guy that wrote On Tyranny, what that came out a few years ago, talking about the things that lead to sort of a authoritarian, like fascist sort of dictatorship, the things that you can see sort of the signposts along the way, and so he came out with a recent book recently, on freedom, which is about the opposite of that, really. So like, what are the indicators to a free society?
Yes, it's really good. It's honestly more philosophical than history. He's a historian. He's a Yale historian. Yale, I think, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Some Ivy Leaguer. Him and Jim Nance. Jim Nance.
JP Mandel.
That's it. Jim Mandel. Yeah. All right, you did a great job. Thanks, bud. So he, I have On Tyranny back here somewhere. It was on my grandma's nightstand when I had to go clean out her.
I remember that. Yeah.
So yeah, I've really been enjoying On Freedom. I'm like halfway through it already. It's probably like 10 hours, and now you just burn through it, man. I highly recommend it. It's very philosophical. It talks about like different pillars of freedom and types of freedom, and how like freedom at different developmental stages as like an individual, you have different styles in you. And we talk about a lot here, like freedom to versus freedom from, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of it too. So I recommend this book to anyone, especially if you like our show. But let me play this clip. It's about a minute and a half.
Ability. No choice is ever final, not just because the world changes around us, but because different values will suggest themselves to us at different points.
So this kind of blew my mind. I texted you when I heard this.
Yeah, you did.
So he's talking. What? 3 dimensions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Left, right, up, down, depth. 4th dimension,
time
and space, right? Time and space related. And then so philosophically, like, Mima, don't fucking at me about all your fucking big brain physics shit. I know you're smart. But philosophically, so if you think about it, like, we operate as 3-dimensional beings, right?
Yes.
Like, we can kind of comprehend time and space being a 4th dimension. But past that, it's really hard for us to kind of have any idea of what other dimensions could be.
Right.
And I know that this doesn't stand in for that, but in that way where it's not something that you would think of it being, the idea of choice and values being that extra dimension, that layered dimension, that's what this clip's about. And then that in the context of freedom, I found very just fascinating. Okay, enough. There we go.
Choice is ever final, not just because the world changes around us, but because different values will suggest themselves to us at different points. A sovereign person, in making choices, is acting not only within the physical world, but in a realm of good and evil, right and wrong, virtue and vice. That zone, which Stein called the world of values, is not an extension of the world of things. It is a kind of 5th dimension with its own rules, and as such, a reservoir of unpredictability for our own world of 4 dimensions of space.
And that of space and time, that I'm going to back up. So people that get annoyed when I stop things, don't worry, I'm going to back up a little. That unpredictability is key to freedom and how people can govern us, right? Like if they can predict you, then they can know what you're going to do and they can govern you more strictly, right? More authoritarianly, right? So you want to foster more unpredictable societies that have good cohesion.
Interesting.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
The 5th dimension with its own rules, and as such, a reservoir of unpredictability for our own world of 4 dimensions of space and time. The virtues do not interact with one another or with objects as objects do with other objects. The 5th dimension, so to speak, has its own physics, its own geometry. When we make choices and affirm values, that different geometry of the 5th dimension seeps into our world, making us and it less predictable. The values cannot be judged in the same terms as physical objects. We can say that a thing is bigger than another thing, but we cannot say that loyalty is bigger than honesty. Another difference. Choosing between values is an act of affirmation, not of consumption. When we choose beauty, there is more beauty, not less. We leave.
I just want to pause there and just soak that in, right? Like when we choose beauty, like you encourage the values that you choose rather than consuming it, as we do with other objects, right?
Yeah, because if you consume it, you destroy it in the act of consumption. But
yeah,
in choosing it,
you encourage more.
Right.
Affirmation, not of consumption. When we choose beauty, there is more beauty, not less. We leave behind the unchosen thing, whereas the unchosen value always awaits us. We might affirm it later, or even find some way to combine it with other values. As we move forward in time, we not only leave a trace of our choices behind us, but also accumulate a new capacity for combining values within us.
He went on to say that I misspoke and I put a note here. I mistyped. So
okay.
He went on to say that free people are predictable amongst themselves, but unpredictable to authoritarians or authorities. Can I try this again? I'd like this better. So he went on to say that free people are predictable amongst themselves, but unpredictable to authorities or government or the mechanics of that, right? Do you get that?
So in a community of people, you might be able to predict what your neighbor is going to do, but if you zoom out far enough, then that's not so predictable.
Right. Yeah, and your government can't just be like, preach to you, propagandize to you in certain ways that get you to behave in predictable ways. And if that sounds like we're like, well, that's what we're under. It's like, right, yes, yes, we have failed at this horribly.
Right.
Unfree people are unpredictable amongst themselves, but predictable to their rulers. So such unpredictability allows us to become our individual selves together.
The so-called free spirit, the person that they might just take off and go to the beach this weekend. Who knows?
I'm going to the moon.
Yeah.
Pretty neat, man. I really like this book.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that clip really blew my mind, and it's probably more powerful in the context of what's right before and right after it. But I hope that like listeners, I love it when you especially I'm picturing Mima being like, here's what I fucking hate about that. Like I want to hear what people think about that. So
that book is definitely on my list. I like Snyder Law. I will definitely get to it.
It's a fast read. Like you really want to get into it too.
Most of his books I've read are.
Yeah. They're gripping,
Yes, and they're very consumable, I would say.
Yep. Yeah. I have a couple of things that I was hoping I'd find sounds for, and I didn't find any sounds for, but I don't think they're going to come up in the headlines. Do you see King Solomon in Saudi Arabia is not healthy?
I did.
So I don't know. Does that show up? Did that come into the news today, or as far as you know? You look at
I didn't even look today. Okay. So I don't know.
What's this? Biden offered to bribe Israel with aid not to strike Iran. That's my interpretation. So we had Biden offered like a nice aid package to Israel to encourage them not to go after certain targets in Iran.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. I know that
sounds like a bribe.
It does sound like a bribe. Okay. Klein's newest episode I was listening to today, I didn't finish it, but
you see how Klein's going to put some of his stuff behind a paywall?
Well, the whole New York Times is. It's
Oh
it's
no.
not. So
Anyway,
yeah. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, so he has a journalist on from the Atlantic, I believe, who was embedded with Biden for a while during the negotiations over what to do, what Israel would do, Israel and Hamas, right? And he talks a lot about sort of the failures of that whole situation and sort of some of the things that the administration, sort of believed naively, or maybe they didn't really believe it at all, that Israel was putting on the table. He talks about October
what does that
6th.
mean?
So on October 6th, they were in negotiations with the Saudis.
That's right. The whole Abram Accord.
Yeah, and so they were actually trying to. The Saudis were wanted a mutual defense agreement with the U.S. They knew the only way to do that would be to appease Israel, and or to have Israel be part of the situation. And so one of the things that they were wanting to do was create a two-state solution to give Palestinians a state.
I don't feel like Saudi Arabia really cares.
I don't think so either. But it was like the administration was buying that whole thing as even something that was possible, when politically on the ground in Israel, anybody who was paying attention would tell you that's not. And so there's just different things like that. I haven't finished it yet, but it's very interesting. I recommend it.
Where was that?
Ezra Klein's most recent episode.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
Boot?
I lost.
It's okay. We're back. We're back. Do you see Victor Boot was? Did you see the news about Victor Boot today?
Trying to sell arms? Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
Him and Foxhole Company trying to,
Cody and Boots.
Yeah. Should text him that. You and Victor Boot got a lot in common. You
Dude,
talk about it. You know about it. Talk about it.
Alex Jones had Victor Boot on his show like a month or two ago.
Yeah, and it was hilarious, right? Like, wasn't he trying to get him to say a bunch of things, and Boot was like,
"Yeah, he wouldn't."
Do you remember that? I don't remember details.
I don't remember the details either, but it was kind of a train wreck. But yeah, so he was trying to sell arms to Yemen, is what the story was. I don't remember a lot more details.
Well, I sure hope Brittany Griner is proud of herself. Then
Hey, that wasn't on her. That was our State Department that did that.
Well, I also
She was
like our citizens being not locked in prison. for
Same.
having weed
Same.
vapes,
You can't blame her. She was just a chip.
Maybe you can stop people if you catch them in the process of doing this. That still seems like something you can do something about.
It does.
It's more difficult, definitely, but also like fuck these Yemenis. Like I'm pretty sure once Israel's done in the north, they go out west, they go up north, and they go down to Yemen. And then if they still got time, they go to Iran. Like,
you think Israel's going to hit Yemen? Like
they have.
I know, but on the ground, like boots on the ground?
Oh no,
no, I don't.
Well, through Saudi Arabia, no,
no, definitely not.
No. Okay, here's another one. Iran had an earthquake recently. Did you see that?
No, I don't think I did.
They had an earthquake in the middle of the fucking desert, and I don't think that area is known for having earthquakes.
Oh.
You think of what I'm thinking.
Perhaps somebody was
14 days away.
Yeah, 2 weeks from now.
Might have been a nuclear test.
I think if that were the case, intelligence would know about that, and it would have been.
By intelligence, you mean the embedded Mossad agents in every layer of Iran's bureaucracy? Yeah,
exactly.
Turns out when you have like an entirely ideological led bureaucracy, you can get infiltration that can happen.
Yeah, it's not so hard.
Yeah, it's like, you mean all I have to do is put on the act and the song and dance, and you'll believe me? Like, and the more I sing and dance, the more you believe me.
Better. Yeah.
That is how those people all get in there, right? And what do I know? Well, I got my clip from Hurricane Milton. Can we just go back to Hurricane Milton for a second?
Sure.
All right, let's talk about the hurricane. But before that, I just had one more part from the Milton reel from the Office Space. Oh, I didn't. It's muted, Dustin.
Excuse me, senor. I asked for a Mai Tai and they brought me a pina colada. And I said no salt for the margarita, but it had salt on it. There's big grains of salt on Los Vientos McDonald's again. I won't be leaving a tip.
Pinche gringo.
Pina colada.
No salt. No salt.
No salt on the rim. I will not be leaving a tip.
Milton's a Cat 5. I made this note as of Monday, so 2 days before you're listening to this. I mean, we all know about this now, but bottom line, if this stays on course, this is going to be the most powerful hurricane to hit Tampa in over 100 years. Nobody alive in that region has experienced it, like anything like a storm like this. I have a video. You look like you're about to say something.
As of right now, it appears that is going to stay on course, and that's what's going to happen.
And it's still strengthening, right? Like, I mean, so I'll give Loadmaster credit where credit's due. Like, as soon as the last hurricane was over, he's like, dude, the Gulf is so fucking hot right now. And I've kept that pace. It's so hot right now. It's like, what's the guy's name in
what?
Hansel is so hot right now. From the Zoolander movie.
Zoolander, yes.
Anyway, the Gulf is just so hot right now. And so I've been keeping that NOAA page open where they track the storms. That one Kirk that I was talking about, it just went straight north. It just went like, I'm going to Newfoundland. Go fuck yourself. So here is I don't know this guy's. This is Mike's weather page. He's got 523,000 followers. Somebody knows. Somebody thinks he's credible. Ready?
Yeah.
Hey everybody, it's Mike here. Very serious update. 160 miles an hour Milton is. That's the current look. Unbelievable. It is a Cat 5 right now, okay? There's the latest track. Pink areas of hurricane watches.
Cat 5 has a cable. This was prior to it even going past the Yucatan. It clipped the Yucatan, and they've got horrible videos just from there.
Oh, I haven't seen those. Okay.
Yeah.
There will be warnings. We're going to have hurricane conditions through the whole state. Major hurricane expected to be landfalling near Tampa Bay area. Hurricane through the whole state. Effects are.
Have you seen the footage? Have you seen the satellite photos where the entire Gulf is just cloud
covered? Yes, I have seen.
It's got like a 3-mile eye in the middle of it, just a tiny little thing.
It's crazy. Yes.
I don't know if this is the video or if it's another one where they said we are pushing the limits. We are finding the limits of what a storm can possibly be. Like I guess good news. It can't get worse than this. Bad news. You're going to get the worst possible. Like
right. Just based on physics, this is as bad as it can go.
Right. Like the water can only do so much. Saturation occurs at a certain point.
Right.
You can only have so much energy in a storm. But here.
They're going to be felt for almost the whole peninsula. It doesn't get any worse than this for folks in the West Central. We've never had a direct hit since like 1921, 1848. Okay. Very rare. Okay.
It's crazy that it like came across the ocean, settled in the Gulf, and then went back east like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for it to just be like going west to east directly across the peninsula like that.
It's like a spinning top, though. It's unpredictable where it's going to go. It's just
There was one tracker that had it going to turning into a tropical storm and going into New Orleans, and that would have been the good one. It was like because it would be like 120-mile-an-hour winds. It'd be weaker.
Yeah.
Listen to your EOC. Evacuate if told to evacuate. This is what it's going to look like. Future radar. It's going to get bigger. It's going to expand. We're going to have strong feeder bands. Tornadoes are going to happen from Key West north. When it exits the dirty side, it's going to bring a lot of bad action to the northern part of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. Storm surge. These numbers, unfreaking believable. 12 to 15 feet now for a big chunk of the west central area. 12 to 15 feet. We've never had this happen. Helene, this is almost double that. Serious surge is on its way. Rainfall getting higher and higher. We got flood risks, especially on Wednesday as the core of the system goes. We've already got saturated grounds. Watch for that. Serious flooding. And then tornadoes. Starting tomorrow, Tuesday night and Wednesday. Feeder bands, okay? Lots of effects. Take this serious. Listen to your EOC. Hey, everybody.
So I want to spend the rest of this segment talking about some other stuff from Helene and like misinformation and also what's been going on the ground. I don't know how well these clips flow, so a little bit of grace I'd appreciate. I put these together best I could. I also can't anticipate how we're going to talk and where our conversation is going to go to.
Right.
But before we get into the rest of it, which will be mostly about Helene, and this is the worst case scenario, right? This is megastorm followed by megastorm while
still trying to recover from
dodged this in the last storm.
Yes. Yes, this is bad. Yes.
All right. Let me play this clip. This is I do want to. It's just I know it's going to come up in some point or the other, and I was kind of scrolling to see where it is. You know, there's people that think that like the government made these storms, right?
Yes.
Like it's like either
Well,
it's climate change. Why would we have to believe that when we could think the government made the storms? Like why? Like was it last time I checked, the administration wants to be, you know, have their successor elected. Probably isn't a great idea to have a fucking back-to-back hurricanes. Like,
yeah. I think MTG posted on her her Twitter. I'm not calling it X. She posted like a map overlaid with where the storm was going with the political, like whether it was red or blue politically in those areas.
Jesus Christ.
Saying that
I mean, at least be smart about it and talk about like cloud seeding and all that kind of stuff, right? Like,
yeah. And then
I like
Alex
people
Jones,
and the thing with the cloud seeding is like, yeah, like we want to be able to alleviate drought. Like, yeah, we don't want to create a hurricane. Like, you think that somebody wants to do that? Like, why would you make a fucking problem? Like, oh my God. And I know the answers to that, but that doesn't make
doesn't make any
you're
sense.
I mean, it can in like a scenario that doesn't map on top of reality. Okay.
Sure.
Congressman Nice Guy has a good clip that's going to transition us into this. This is a lot of stuff that I hope to talk about on the Thursday show when we get Ryan Lee on to talk about disaster recovery and stuff in North Carolina. But Nice Guy, Jeff Jackson, Congressman Jeff Jackson. Yes.
Hey, folks, I'm just going to tell you what is actually happening in Western North Carolina because there's a lot of stuff flying around. I'm a major in the National Guard, just met with our top general, the head of FEMA, our governor, and the vice president. I asked the FEMA director how this disaster is different from others she's worked on, and she said it's about how wide the path of destruction is. For a sense of scale, here are the roads that are closed. This is a quarter of our state. This happened because these are the mountains, and in the mountains, the roads follow the rivers.
I just did that drive. I just went out there, and it's like the whole way up into the Smokies. I'm like, look at that. It reminded me of Colorado. Like when I lived in Colorado, anytime you go up into the mountains, the rivers winded along with it.
Yep.
That's because that's the ideal place to build a road because that's it just makes sense that you'd build there.
Because there's
no, go ahead. I thought I was going to say it and I couldn't think about a word. Why don't you do it?
Because that's where the water's finding the path of least resistance.
Right.
So you mirror that. You have
Right.
the path of least resistance
Yeah.
for your
Right. Or you can just blast out a side of a mountain for no fucking reason and take 10 years to do it instead. Yeah. Exactly.
The rivers flood, they can wash away the roads. You are looking at dozens of counties, hundreds of towns, thousands of communities. 90% of the folks who lost power now have it back, but that last 10% will be a major challenge. Dozens of water facilities are still offline. The Army Corps of Engineers is working on that. Sometimes it means rebuilding. Sometimes it just means bringing in a generator to make sure they have power. The North Carolina National Guard is loading up their C-17s and flying them out there. We also have Black Hawk helicopters. But we don't have Chinooks. Those are the cargo helicopters.
So those Chinooks he was talking about, I actually saw these Saturday while I was in my hotel room. I was like recovering in between rounds and I was like half asleep on the couch and I was like, the air conditioner is making a loud fucking noise. And I looked out the window and there was 2 Chinooks going out east. Like
Really?
Yeah. So they are getting these. He's talking about that, but I must have seen it happening.
So the 82nd Airborne has brought in some of theirs, and the Connecticut National Guard has brought down some of theirs, and that has been incredibly useful. We now have the National Guard from 10 different.
Sorry, for people who are only watching this, those are the big fucking helicopters where they got it's the long school bus looking helicopter where they got the two propellers. Yeah.
States helping us out, in addition to the 82nd Airborne, the 18th Airborne Corps, and the 101st Airborne. That means we have thousands of soldiers on the ground. 700 folks from FEMA, another 2,000 federal workers from different departments, dozens of nonprofits, Red Cross, Salvation Army, Samaritan's Purse, they're all there. And let's address some specific rumors. No one's land is being taken by FEMA. FEMA doesn't even have the authority to do that. There's no blockade on private aid. There is an enormous amount of private aid rolling in. The only people being turned away are the ones headed down a road that's been destroyed, and a checkpoint is telling them, don't go that way, the road has been destroyed. If you want to bring in a private plane full of supplies, you can do that.
So let's talk about that. Let's pause this up a little bit in the middle of it, right? So that's some of the stuff that's been going out there, right? There's a story that I believe where some local authority figure regional authority figure, not just some, I don't mean to diminish it and make him sound like he's just some local with an attitude. Some guy who's in charge said that a private helicopter couldn't go into some place and do something. And he probably made a bad decision and told him he can't do that. He saved some people because he didn't listen to him. And sorry, I got my sister cousin called me in the middle of the show, and I was like, "Is everything okay? I'm recording." And she just wanted to let me know to have a happy birthday. And I go, "Happy birthday!" And now you're memorialized forever here in the show. Thank you, Amber. I love you. Shout out to Mike, Amber, out in Phoenix. What was I saying? So like that's happening, right? Like that's the version of like, hey, yeah, you got told that you can't go in there. That's not true. That road doesn't work. You can't go there, or at least that's what they tell you. Like that lady with the hike where she's it's underwater. You talk about that a little bit.
The moose out front should have told you. Just so there's a couple of things, right? So I'm sure we're going to get more into this in our guest on the Friday show, but sometimes you have people rolling in wanting to be cowboys, and somebody who is in charge and overseeing the situation will look at this person or this group and say, if I let this person, this group go to this place, which is perhaps the roads half washed out, it's very difficult to get to some of these places all before the storm hit, and then the storm's taken out all these infrastructure, then we're going to have to mount a safety rescue to get these guys.
You become right, yeah,
you become a problem as opposed to help. And so I think there's some of that happening, and sometimes the
helicopter one pisses me off, but I know it has to do. Well, he's going to talk about airspace stuff too.
Okay,
what? I don't know, stop.
No, I think
keep going. All right, keep it moving.
The only issue is there's now triple the normal amount of air traffic because of all the planes bringing in supplies, and there have been a bunch of near misses in the air. So they're just asking folks, get in touch with the Emergency Operations Center, let them know you're coming, and the FAA will clear you to land. And contrary to what one of my coworkers in Congress suggested, the government did not create the hurricane. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but here we are. People on the internet can be pretty divisive, but the people on the ground are pulling together. And what they have accomplished in the last week is remarkable. And the support they're getting is just the beginning of a long-term commitment. And I will keep you posted.
Dude, as a country, if this guy isn't at least a candidate for president within the next 10 years, like I won't have any hope. Like,
yeah, he's pretty amazing.
Even to the point where like last week we were like afterwards, we're like, hold on, there was something about that didn't quite make sense. You just brainwashed me into your like nice guy. It's like that's still, I guess, a good sign. Like that's or not a good sign, good stylistically, right?
Stylistically, sure.
Yeah, sure.
I don't even know his politics. I just know
it doesn't matter, right? Like, yeah.
I have no idea.
Like this should be your preferences, not your politics. Who fucking cares? Like, yeah. He's very I mean, of course, who the fuck? I think I'm very normal, but apparently nobody thinks like me. But to him, I mean, when I see him, it's like that's exactly the type of politician. That's the ideal politician.
Yeah.
I swear to God, man, this guy's got a dungeon underneath his house or something with like horses, like the horse stalls down there.
It can't be that perfect. Eh?
What did we have before the show? Was it the horse? What was that? Wait, hold on. You know what? I put it in the sheet. It's this is from the hidden track. Yeah, you go down into his basement and there's a video that starts off like this.
Welcome to this horse's anus.
I knew that'd come in handy, so to speak.
Just have that hanging around.
When I was in Knoxville, they were saying that people are sheltering and getting aid coordinated out of Bristol Motor Speedway. For like that's like the Northeast Tennessee location. Does that make this storm Superdome? That's a way better option, right?
That's a way better option.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Going 4 wide. All right. This is a great clip. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what'd you say?
Oh,
swapping paint?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Dude, I got a shirt. I'll wear it next week. I literally bought a shirt knowing that I wanted to wear it for the show. You know, nice. The DARE logo?
Yes.
It says Dale, D-A-L-E. And then where it says to resist drug and violence, it says, what's
the Intimidator?
No. It says raise hail, praise Dale.
Okay.
Yeah, I always forget which order I want to say it. I got so many compliments from that. I'm like, dude, I bought this at a gift store here. Like, thank you for liking this, but like, you can get this here. Like,
buy it here. Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So I got a clip that's kind of fits in like the culture wars, but it's on this topic. So I put it here. Fox was dunking on Karine Jean-Pierre. So this first clip, I think these go back to back. No, I don't even know, man. Let me just play this. I don't have to try to overthink this. So this is Fox dunking on Karine Jean-Pierre regarding like funding. So, okay. So we're talking about some disinformation. That's what this is on subject of, right?
Yes.
So keep in mind, this clip is a clip. Did you see where this is? You see the outlet that made this? The Instagram account is
Fox News.
Fox News Instagram account. So
yes,
like I know that I shouldn't, but I still like to think like they're a news agency. Like they have an editorial staff. They don't put out things that are like blatant misinformation, informing their audience with an incorrect set of facts. But that's not true. They do it. So I fucking hate this bitch, right? Like I feel like she's not good at it. I feel like she gets too flustered. She gets worked up over things that Steve Doocy says. Like she wears weird suits. There's one later on where she's wearing like a talking head suit. You remember the oversized talking head suit? Where do you see that, man? Like I don't like her, right? But what she's about to talk about, I got a follow-up clip after this that explains about the funding. So what they're talking about is, you've heard a lot of people say this. First of all, if you listen to None Taken like 2 weeks ago, we were saying, hey, one thing Biden did was going into the storm, he elevated the $750 payments. He released that cap on it, no cap. And yeah. So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of misinformation about like the funding and like what people are getting from FEMA. Look, man, I don't got nothing good to say about FEMA.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But like, don't force me to sit here and be like, oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Bureaucracy is going to fail you. Government is going to fail you. You ultimately are going to rely on other citizens, you know, but it is not FEMA's fault that this is not going well. This was a hard to predict type of disaster because traditionally you're looking at the coast and instead we got a deluge of water raining coming down on already saturated mountains, and they funneled into these rivers and they flooded and they wiped out these towns. It's fucking horrible. But the nature of that also makes it harder to get the assistance there. Like that's not hard to understand. It really isn't. So the most of this misinformation is coming from Trump because he wants to make it a campaign. This is like his October surprise, right?
He would like it to be, yes.
Yeah. So he's saying, and MAGA is saying, FEMA spent all their money on housing migrants. Now, I don't want to give away the second clip, but there's two clips of Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary for the White House. And they're saying these were the ones on October 4th.
It's just categorically false. It is not true. It is a false statement. No, Biden did not take FEMA relief money to use on migrants. Funding is.
Now, this clip is from September 16th, 2022. Okay. So 2 years ago. Okay. So they're saying, gotcha, bitch. You did say that they gave FEMA money to migrants.
It's also available through FEMA's emergency food and shelter program.
Now, that's important. FEMA's emergency food and shelter program is not the same as FEMA's disaster relief program. Fox News should know that. And I've got more to talk about this in the following clip. Just keep your facts in order while you're listening to these two things, despite my interruptions.
To eligible local governments and non-for-profit organizations upon request to support humanitarian relief for migrants.
Fox News proudly pronouncing that they were a part of that message. That was their message.
That was their messaging.
All right. So here is the Reason Roundtable podcast describing
Donald Trump, as usual, helpfully just like throwing sort of a smattering of untruth.
I think it's really worth pointing out before you hear the rest of this. You know, Reason Roundtable, noted Democratic sympathizers.
Not at all.
Things into the discourse. In this case, the allegation is that money that was allocated for disaster relief has gone instead to programs that house immigrants. Now, first of all, we're just to get the scale. The program that gives
This part's fucking huge. If you've kind of been half paying attention, listen right here. So they're talking. Remember a second ago, I told you there's 2 different funding sources.
Divisions of
FEMA,
FEMA.
Divisions of FEMA. Yeah.
Block grants to state and local governments to house immigrants. That's a $650 million program. It's separately appropriated. That money exists in a box for that purpose.
It's separately appropriated, and it's appropriated by Congress. So if your fucking point is the Biden administration let you down, no, Congress let you down. Mike Johnson let you down.
Right.
Compared with $35 billion for disaster relief. So even if that money was being borrowed from the disaster relief fund, it still would not be a substantial portion of it. However,
but it's not. It's not, and it's also, like she said, $650 million. That's what went. Now that's a lot of money. That's what went to the migrant housing stuff. Their funding. What did she say? That FEMA's funding budget?
35 billion, I think is what she said.
Yeah, I thought I heard 35. I think I've read somewhere 53 also. So like huge fucking numbers, right?
Well, either way,
billions,
to
literally
millions
orders of magnitude larger.
Yes.
it's not. It's a totally separate fund. The folks at FEMA have said they have plenty of money to handle Hurricane Helene. They're a little worried if Milton hits right on its tail that they might need more money. Of course, that's what people from FEMA say when they go in front of Congress. The only thing they're ever going to say is, we need more money. So, I think we should take that with a grain of salt. And if they do need more money, we have an emergency appropriations.
Just send your cash.
Or
Money me. Money now.
Process for that. Again, totally unrelated to housing migrants. Now, somebody did raid the disaster fund to deal with our immigration issues.
That was Barack Obama, right?
That was Donald Trump during his presidency, who took money illegally out of the, not quite illegally.
Improperly.
Improperly. It was not illegal. He is allowed to do it. He gave notice. Improperly out of a unrelated monies and put them into border enforcement. So, as usual, accusations against Democrats are very much like I'm rubber and you're glue type situation.
All right, there we go. Did I hit all that good, Alan?
You hit all that very well.
Thank you. Thank you for saying well. I didn't like that I said well instead of good, or good instead of well. I hate it when I do that wrong. So it's appropriated by Congress, I think, is the key part of that too, right? If this is actually the argument you're going to make, like the executive branch is not the thing that's at fault for the thing that you're complaining while you're making shit up.
Right. And it's not taking away from emergency response by FEMA. It's just
and if they're saying we need more money, it's because they're fucking whores. And if they're talking to Congress, they're gonna say, yeah, we could use more money. We could definitely use more money.
Always use
especially
more
if
money.
there's going to be another storm coming. We need more money. Yeah.
You gotta buy staplers.
Just the swing line. I had a swing line and then they switched it to a bust. And I will play this because right after that, they did start to talk about the Kanye West, George Bush doesn't care about black people. And remember when I made that meme?
I do.
Listen to this.
Comments at the time, and note that maybe all teams have, or all parties have switched teams. Like Kanye West is probably going to say that Joe Biden hates white people.
I was ahead of it. I was ahead of it.
Clearly, he's checking out our Instagram.
Yep. So Bill Lee. So I did not expect while I was on vacation to see a video of Bill Lee. Do you know who Bill Lee is, or I just know that because I live out here?
The governor of Tennessee.
Yeah, governor of Tennessee, Bill Lee.
I have a shirt, an Untaken shirt with.
That's
his
right.
face
It says
on it.
Bill. What is it? God save the Queens.
God save the Queens. Yes.
So Bill Lee, huge Republican. He was going to do a multi-state, like in solidarity with Ron DeSantis, like the free state of Florida. They were going to do a Tennessee version of that as well. And the day they had their announcement planned, that shooting happened in Tennessee, in Nashville, and they canceled it and they never came back to that. But like, just for context, like, this guy, I did not on my, this is the joke, right? This is a joke everybody's saying. I did not on my bingo card predict Bill Lee standing up and saying things like, Donald Trump is lying to you. So here's what that sounds like.
All right.
A lot of misinformation. In fact, there's some belief and understanding that may be coming from foreign sources just to confuse on the ground what's happening here. There's no confiscation of supplies or of products coming in by FEMA or TEMA. Look, these people are in tears, and you see the TEMA director get emotional yesterday about the people that we are serving I saw a county mayor every single day with tears in their eyes, emotional, serving the people alongside their FEMA and TEMA counterparts in their EOCs. There's nothing but commitment to serving the people in this state, and those who spread that kind of misinformation. It's deeply unfortunate that that's happening.
So we'll get into that more on our Thursday show. I do have more on this too, but like I feel like I think we'll do better to ask more questions of people that have been on the ground and seeing how that's impacted them than to just speculate it now and then touch on it again on Thursday, right?
Yeah, definitely. I just to comment on the Bill Lee there. I think what you're seeing there is the difference between a governor and a member of Congress, in that a governor at the end of the day actually has to like manage a state and like make things happen.
That's why it's harder to run for office in the current environment where you can just lie and use culture wars and shit like that. As a governor, it's hard. That's what was hard. That was the challenge Ron DeSantis had once he got into the primary phase.
Yes, because as a governor, you actually have to do some shit. And then there's a record of what you've done, and there's outcomes to the decisions that you made.
Right.
As a member of Congress, you can say "fuck all." This, clearly the
Democrats.
Yeah, clearly, the Democrats are making hurricanes to
George Soros.
Right, exactly.
You lasers.
It's the globalists. Exactly.
Exactly, Alan. Wow.
Exactly, sir.
Well, Alan, if you can, I'd like it if you would. Sorry. It's not going quick enough.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Okay.
Jeez.
Okay. So here is one of the things that's been going around is that, and I touched on it a little bit earlier. That
I like that you touched on it.
No, well, stick around, Alan. One of the things that I touched on earlier, and I'll rub it again for you, is that Trump has been saying that there's a cap of $750. Like, oh, your house got wiped away. Here's $750. Here is, apparently we have to say Dana Bash.
Dana, yeah.
She looks like she'd say, it's not Dana, it's Dana. It's go.
She does.
Dana. It's Dana. There is no Dana, only Zool. Just call her Zool. How's
something
that? It's a good Ghostbusters reference. So Dana Bash has Laura Trump, who's appears to be the co-chair of the Republican Party. That can't be right. That's the daughter-in-law of the president. Weird.
I want to ask you about something that the former president said last night on that stage, specifically about Hurricane Helene in your home state of North Carolina. He said that FEMA is only offering $750 to Americans who have had their homes destroyed. That's not true. He's also echoing conspiracy theorists online who falsely claim that the administration is redirecting disaster money for undocumented immigrants. That's also not true. Why is he spreading misinformation in a crisis like that? And does that concern you about your fellow North Carolinians and how and whether they could actually get help?
I'm incredibly concerned in North Carolina. I hear every day from people on the ground there, and they are desperate for help. It is a dire situation there. I actually think we don't even know the extent yet of truly how bad it is there. And look, Kamala Harris did come out and say it's $750 per family right now. The idea that we've spent $650 million in fiscal year 24 on the migrant crisis that Kamala Harris.
She just said 650 million. We talked about that, right?
We
So
just did
everything we said about why that was bullshit before.
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about. This
She's
is the
still on
co-chair of the Republican Party.
Yes.
$1 million in fiscal year 24 on the migrant crisis that Kamala Harris was responsible for stopping, and by all accounts, she created by having an open door policy at our southern border.
But
is
Laura,
infuriating.
let me.
How did she have an open door policy when she's the one on our soundboard saying "Don't come"? Do not. It's right here.
Just stop you right there.
Of this country.
Let me just stop you right there because I just want to not let this get out there. You are right that FEMA is giving $750, but that is a first step. It's for immediate needs. It's called the serious needs assistance.
Dana, and said that they are out of money in terms of their hurricane relief. We have another hurricane heading.
So now I'm glad we played these clips in order. Everything she's saying, are not true.
We already know that. Yeah, and we talked
In
about FEMA asking for more money on the headline show last week.
That's true. Yeah.
In terms of their hurricane relief, we have another hurricane heading towards Florida right now.
What they have
Why
said is
this
that there
government
is
inept
money
right now. Why don't they have anything in order? Why is it that right now the citizens in Western North Carolina are screaming for help, and it's having to come from a local
I don't
to come from a
understand why she isn't talking over her. Like, why is she letting her continue to say things when you're like, if you're the host and you're like, you're actually lying and I'm correcting that, and then you let her keep going with her lie, like, because you don't want to be combative and you don't want to be on bad terms with the potential next president. Is it fear? Is it cowardice? Is it politeness?
I don't know. I agree that, or she's not even really pushing back that hard. I mean, she said it's not true, but then she reasserts the things, and she really, at least unless she does it later in this clip.
Much left.
Now, the citizens in Western North Carolina are screaming for help, and it's having to come from local citizens. People from my hometown of Wilmington are driving across the state 6 hours to go to the mountains and help people.
It is bad.
Where is our federal government? Why are they out of money?
It is bad there, but my question is about the misinformation, particularly the notion that they are moving money to migrants, to, you say, undocumented migrants, which FEMA says flatly is not true. And if people are not getting correct information, then they can't go for assistance as they have been asked for. I just want to quickly.
What a fucking failure of a broadcaster, right? To not just be armed enough as a lowly podcast like None Taken, right? With our $3 subscriber base,
right?
to be able to be like, hey, that is money appropriated by Congress for a division of FEMA that takes care of that problem. Orders of magnitude higher amounts of money are on hand and being distributed appropriately at the appropriate time too. Like, what's your house worth that just got washed away? What would you do if I gave you that money right now anyways?
Yeah. There's
That's
nothing,
not going to fix shit for you.
You need a hotel room. You need food.
Yes.
You need water. You need, you did a much better job shooting those balloons down than Dana did, for sure.
Ooh, like an F-22? F-22s love shooting balloons.
Exactly.
Remember those Chinese balloons? Those slinky Chinese.
They're balloons.
Yeah.
There's collecting weather data, Dustin.
Yep. Let's see. This Republicans won't come back to work to fund hurricane relief. Oh, let's play that clip. So this is I think we got a couple of clips that might touch on this. So I think I have a clip of Mike Johnson saying this later on, but let me play this now.
Republicans are refusing to come back to work to vote on more money for hurricane victims. I just got asked why the current administration is more intent on sending money to Ukraine than hurricane victims, and I can see the ridiculous lie that's being spun. Number one, most of the shit that we send to Ukraine are old military equipment.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a howitzer, if you think that'll help you, I mean, I'd be down. If you want to send one to me, hey man, I'm suffering here in Nashville. We could really use some of that old military equipment.
Artillery shells over here.
I don't mind tricking you into doing that, but I've got an ulterior. Dude, Natasha's always trying to look at antique stores and stuff. While we were driving home, she's like, here's an antique store. Can we drive there? And we go like 15 minutes out of the way to get there. And I sit in the car with the dogs because we got to kind of take turns, one in the car, one in.
Sure.
And she's in there for like 2 minutes. She comes back in. I'm like, oh, that good, huh? She's like, you might like it in there. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, just go in and look. It's just like 1911s and AKs.
Oh,
just like I was like, it's $1,800 for a new inbox AK. I was like, I don't need to do this.
Wow.
But I could do this. It's just a credit card, Alan. I could have walked out of the store with it the same day. Tennessee is glorious. Like,
Yes, it has a monetary value, but nobody that is currently being hurt by the hurricane needs boxes and boxes of ammo and Patriot missiles. We get rid of that stuff because we're constantly upgrading our arsenal and we just have it laying around. So
aren't you tired of having to say this all the time?
Yes.
we sent it out on a lend-lease deal, meaning that we'll get that money back at some point.
Okay, all right. Okay, hold on. We're not getting anything back from Ukraine.
To stop an invasion in Europe without having to put American boots on the ground. We're spending a fraction of our military budget to decimate one of our long-standing rivals who is currently invading one of our allies. Joe Biden sent every resource he had available from FEMA and all the other government organizations to help with the storm. He wants to send more money, and he asked Mike Johnson, the leader of the House of Representatives, to bring Congress back from their vacation to vote on giving them more money. And Mike Johnson said no, we should wait till after the election. Because of course he said that. That's what Republicans do. They refused to pass a bipartisan border bill so they could run on the border. They constantly vote against increases to the budget of the VA so they can run on the idea that the VA doesn't work, so we shouldn't have the government in healthcare. And now They're trying to run on a lie that the current administration won't do anything for storm victims because the Republican-led House will not vote, which is required, for more money for said storm victims. Because
got another freaking
Republicans
storm coming
don't want to ever play ball if it means that a Democrat will get an attaboy. They would rather let their own constituents drown than send them the money they need and have them thank a Democrat.
Because all they have to do, because you don't have to spend any money to create a disinformation campaign where you make them think it's the Democrats' fault.
Yep. It's real easy to do.
Yep.
Real easy to do, especially if you're not a governor, actually.
Yeah, that was a great dude. That was a great point you brought, man. Yeah.
Thank you.
This is Hurricane Michael. What do I have that on there? Hurricane Michael barreled into Mexico Beach, Florida, October 10th, 2018. Why was I drunk? I'm going to play this.
Okay.
Oh, this is Trump earlier today. So this is Trump earlier today saying, so this is Trump talking about Hurricane Milton Stapler. Oh, sorry, buddy.
Milton.
Sorry. Thank you.
Oh.
I caught it this time. You don't give me good credit for this one. I don't think we're going to do an hour 220 of a show.
No.
We'll see. We'll see how fast the second half goes.
Okay.
Violent hurricane that's coming down the line. And it's a Category 5, which is something that I've never heard a Category 5 actually coming onto land, but it looks like it's going to. And right smack in the middle of Florida. Nobody's seen a line like that. And it's heading there quickly. I have to tell you that I called Miriam. I said, I was in New York, and I said, Miriam, maybe I shouldn't be flying. I think I'm the only person that flew down to Florida tonight to.
So let's just do a little live fact checking here about whether or not Trump has ever heard of a Category 5 hurricane
making landfall. Yeah.
Who was president in 2018?
That would be Donald J. Trump.
Okay, Hurricane Michael made a direct hit onto Florida as a Category 5, and that's what hit like Fort Myers back then. Remember that fucked up my house?
I do remember that.
Buzz's house.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's a little snippet. Hurricane Michael barreled into Mexico Beach, Florida on October 10th with peak winds. Wow, that's almost 6 years to the day. Good grief.
Wow.
With peak winds of 160 miles an hour, making it the strongest storm on record to make landfall in the Florida Panhandle. Oh, it was up farther north. Sorry. It was the first Category 5 storm to make landfall on the U.S. mainland, not in forever. Also within Donald Trump's life. Which hurricane do you think of when you think of massive hurricane that hits Florida?
Andrew.
Fuck yeah. Andrew in like 92 or 93,
like
92.
Yeah.
I mean, as a kid, I remember Hurricane Andrew. Like, if I were to like have milestone hurricanes, they're like Maria from recently, Katrina,
obviously.
Well, obviously Helene now, but,
Yes.
and then, but it was Katrina and then Andrew, right? Yeah, like Donald Trump, you should remember Hurricane Andrew, and if not, you should remember the one while you were president.
Right.
Although
Right.
maybe I don't remember. Maybe he didn't throw. Was that the one where he was throwing paper towels?
Paper towels? I don't know.
I don't know if Michael was the paper towels one, but yeah.
I don't remember the name of that one.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, was that the hidden track where we were talking about his mental health?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that definitely kind of sounds like a guy that's got a lot of cognitive decline, right?
It definitely does. Yeah, we'll talk about it probably more on the Friday show, maybe. But yeah, I was just talking in the hidden track. I talked about it. New York Times had an article come out yesterday where they used data analysis to look at his rally speeches between currently and like 2016, 2020.
Let's throw that. Oh, sorry.
And just the comparison, it points pretty obviously to cognitive decline because of the length of the speeches, the increased use of profanity, the increased use of
anybody who's dealt with an elderly loved one, that when that decline starts to happen, but they still have a lot of executive function still.
Right.
One of the first things you see is like anger mixed with like
confusion a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. And reminiscent thoughts.
Yep.
Right?
Looking at, so he refers to the past way more often, and he's very negative, significantly more negative than he was in previous.
Because that's all like our lizard brain, right?
Yep.
That's the easy hardwired circuitry. You don't have to have you don't have to grab the wheel as well to like steer towards.
That's like spinal cord shit right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What do you think about maybe just putting that in the show tomorrow with Homeboy?
Yeah. Okay.
And we get to it, we don't,
Sure. That'll be fun to talk with him. Yeah.
I think so too. I think you'd have good riffs on it.
Yeah.
It'll be funnier than now. And we've already covered the heavy part of it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we talked about this and then track 2. We didn't talk about it. We talked about talking about it. So Woodward of Woodward and Bernstein,
Yes.
one of the journalists that inspired many modern investigative journalists.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps turning out books. He's got a new book out. He likes his one-word book titles. Like I think while Trump was president, he had one called Fear.
Yep.
He's got a new one coming out called War.
Mm-hmm.
I was tempted to put this in Best of the Left because this does not portray the current administration and the current president very well at times. Here are some of the revelations of this book. It just came out today. So like all these snippets sort of like hit the media as and I always like to listen to the Bob Cesca show before we do a show. Bob Cesca, I've got a recap of Bob Cesca talking about the highlights that were sort of disseminated to media today. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I cut out a lot of him like riffing on it just to get to the kind of the meat of it, but it's still a couple minutes long. I'm sure we'll pause and talk.
Okay.
Apparently, according to Bob Woodward, Joe Biden regrets appointing Merrick Garland. It says here, according to CNN, Biden has remained hands-off with the Justice Department, but privately, Woodward reveals the president's anger at the prosecution of his son, especially toward his attorney general. Quote, should never have picked Garland, Biden once told an associate. Woodward reports, this is never going to fucking go away, Biden.
I muted myself. A lot of people are have been mad at Garland on the Democrat side, saying like he dragged his feet with prosecuting Trump. He was a little too careful, and maybe the reason all these things got delayed by Trump's tactics and it all came up to the election anyways was because Garland didn't go more aggressive early on.
Right. Yes, that has
complained. Meantime, Joe Biden thought Barack Obama failed to push back against Putin after he invaded Crimea in 2014.
Agreed.
So apparently, according to Bob Woodward's book, Joe Biden's none too happy with Barack Obama's reaction then, and saying that it essentially landed us where we are right now with Ukraine. It might be because, according to this next bit of information, the Biden administration thought there was a 50% chance Vladimir Putin would use battlefield nukes against Ukraine. A 50% chance. This was inside information. Chilling. Also, Joe Biden refers to Donald as that fucking asshole.
Do you want to talk about the battlefield nukes, or do you want to go to that fucking asshole?
That's very funny.
So they kind of touch on the former guy, TFG and TFA.
Right. Right.
Not surprised.
It says, well, Biden rarely invokes Trump's name publicly, referring to him as my predecessor or the former guy. In private, Biden calls him that fucking asshole, Woodward writes. Yeah, lots of usages of the word fuck in this piece.
TFA instead of TFA instead of TFG.
Give Buzz full credit there.
Right. And there was one section that they mention in the book about the relationship between Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Apparently, Joe Biden was feeling a little isolated.
Yeah.
And Kamala Harris is trying to encourage people around him to not make him feel so isolated. So
what does that mean, right? This sounds like when he's in a nursing home and you like go by and like wheel his chair over to the window.
Go say hi to grandma. Go,
yeah.
Make
sure
a
slice of cake. His
right.
spirits are up. Like, don't come on.
Kamala would step up and have conversations with Joe. And one of the things that, and I refer to him as Joe just then, bad podcaster, President Biden. One of the reasons why they got along so well and continue to get along so well is because of Kamala Harris's pronunciation of the word motherfucker. Biden appreciates.
We talked about this, right? She said that's her favorite word, right?
Yes. I like
She's
that.
about to say it. Apparently there's tapes, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
I love that section of it. That made me laugh.
Now,
dude, even if you need to do the fucking AI, somebody send me her saying motherfucker.
Yes, please.
And whether or not she listens to Untaken would be helpful too.
See, that makes me want to hear her say it.
Yeah.
Because I'll bet it is delightful and charming.
There's tape. There's tape somewhere out there. of her saying motherfucker.
Oh, Lordy, there are tapes.
Yeah. Citing a Trump aide, Woodward reports that there have
Lordy is such a great old man word, right?
really
like,
is.
oh Lordy, there are tapes.
Woodward reports that there have been, quote, maybe as many as 7 phone calls between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin since Donald Trump left the White House in 2021. Revelation.
So what do you think they're talking about?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Price of oil?
Price of oil, maybe who they slept with last night. I don't know. Maybe
bed where Barack Obama slept. Drug kissers didn't do this.
No, for sure. Maybe he's reminding him not to tell anybody about the COVID test he sent him.
Shut up, Alan.
And this is the big revelation, as far as I'm concerned, from this book so far.
You should save number one for last.
It's this.
Donald Trump donated scarce COVID tests in 2020 to Putin. And my first reaction was, well, maybe the Russians needed it. Maybe the Russian people. And then I'm reading and I'm going, oh, yeah, that's right. There was a shortage of COVID tests.
What they're getting to is they weren't COVID tests donated to Russians. They were donated to Putin. The hypochondriac has his meetings at his,
his massive desk.
Batman. Remember in the first Batman when he's having the date with Kim Basinger and they're
and she's so far away.
Yeah, he's like, I never use this room. Yeah.
In 2020, we didn't have
what his meetings look like. Why didn't we make that joke then? It was closer to the Batman movie. It was like 2 years older.
That's true.
Maybe 2 years, sooner.
Enough for our
1989 hit Batman.
Elves. And Donald Trump's giving away COVID tests to Russia. And then I kept reading, oh, holy shit. It wasn't for the Russian people. Donald Trump gave COVID tests, scarce COVID tests, to Putin for his personal use.
Just for him.
Just for Vladimir Putin.
When he says, oh, holy shit, I want to play this clip of Bob Seska.
Oh, no, there's shit in my mouth. My is so great and my boat is so small. Booge and splatter and blood all over.
Right.
I always forget about those. That's good times.
People don't forget. So you seemed pretty interested in the whole COVID test thing. Why don't you talk about it?
So not only did he send him the tests, he said, don't tell anybody about it because people will get mad. Like people.
They said, so like the way it was phrased was that Trump said people will be mad at you about it.
Yes.
But that's like anytime Trump says that, it's like, no, they'll be mad at me.
It's really about me.
Yeah.
I'm just projecting.
Talk about that. Come on. Like, I don't know. I find it difficult to get myself worked up about it, but it does because like I don't personally care.
So
about the COVID
I was
test.
just gonna say in retro,
I've got a box of them that I'm going to plan to sell at like vintage stores in 40 years. Like,
I've never taken one. I've never.
Natasha just told me, she's like, they're offering more COVID tests. I'm like, sign up. I want to put them back under the sink and we'll pull them back out in 30 years and sell them at a yard sale.
I've never even seen one. But in retrospect,
wait, you never took one of those swabs up the nose?
No.
You never took a COVID test?
No.
Not one? You didn't spit in a tube or nothing?
Nothing.
Never?
Zero. Never.
Not even an antibody test?
Nope.
Whoa.
The whole time I never did. However, to be fair, I stayed in my room for like months straight, pretty much.
It's California. You didn't have a choice.
Right.
There was nothing to go out to.
Right. No, I never took a test. I never got COVID as far as I know, unless it was asymptomatic. But if you transport,
don't you love how everybody pretended like they never heard of the idea of being asymptomatic? It's like you've never heard of like beating a cold, but like having the virus in you. Like that's never been like, I don't know. That still blows my mind that people are like asymptomatic. They made this up. It's like, no, that means like you got infected and your body beat it.
But you're still, infect other people.
This is very understandable.
It's very understandable. Yeah, but so if you transport yourself back though to 2020 and just in the thick of it.
Well, people needed them to be able to live their life because they were required to do things if you wanted to be social.
Yes.
And he's given away to Vladimir Poopies.
Vladimir Poopies of all people. It's just it's I guess if obviously
God damn it, that's the dictator. Like God damn it, hold on. Like so like our president is like, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. Don't here's some COVID tests, but you can't tell anybody about it.
Just keep that between us.
That is infuriating to imagine happening.
It is.
And it's like that's a version of like it's not the crime, it's a cover up. It's like don't tell anybody. Is like it implies understanding of the guilt.
Right. Yeah. Because obviously. But it's also just bizarre. It's just weird, man. Like I know weird's been overplayed, but like it's just really strange
to think example of weird.
To think of an American president having that sort of relationship with Vladimir Putin of all people,
and having 7 phone calls with him since then.
Post administration, which by the way,
and that's completely undermining the authority of our government, who is largely like, look, man, we can come on here and have a conversation about how it would be probably good if we had better conversational channels with Russia.
Mm-hmm.
But things are the way they are. And for a former president to be actively acting in secondary channels
I mean, there's laws against it, depending on what they talked about, which we don't know. But yeah, I mean, if he's trying to conduct foreign policy from Mar-a-Lago, that's really bad.
Well, I think you summed it up really well. It's really bad.
That was my hot take.
I hope nobody finds out about this because that's really bad.
It's really bad.
I am picking on you, but that's only because it's funnier and we can move on. I don't have anything more to say than that. I mean, it's certainly not anything worse than really bad.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm here all week.
We haven't really had anything to talk about in the show. Stuff has happened. We haven't really have anything in the show about like Iran and Lebanon and Israel and stuff. Let's go to half with a question. Is Iran actually getting everyone in the region to coalesce around them being the destabilizing force in the region?
It does appear that way.
Actually,
Yes.
does feel that way, right?
It
Like I
does.
feel like if you kind of zoom out,
Yeah.
like long term, Israel actually, I would bet more money on Israel being we'll get along with all of you. If you don't like me for some reason or the other, which I can understand, perhaps the thing that we can agree on is how much we fucking hate that guy.
Yeah. Even the Saudis were like, yeah, we want to, yeah, we'll hang out with Israel if just fuck Iran.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, supposed to I've hit the button so many fucking times, just never hit play. I'm gonna go get a refill. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay. I need ice.
See you on the B side.
Baby.
This is the B side of our platter, sports fans. And I'm singing just for you, covered in sequins.
In the canyons of your mind, I will wander through your brain to the ventricles of your heart, my dear. I'm in love with you again. Cross the mountains of your chest, I will stick a Union Jack to the forest of your cheek, through the holes in your string bag.
These beaver nuggets are really good.
Is it like peanut butter pretzel things, or what is it?
No, they're like caramel corn, kettle corn.
Got
but
it.
like, you know what they taste like? Remember the cereal, like the honeycomb?
Yeah.
Or corn pops?
Yeah.
Corn pops, but like glazed.
The ones with the one with the bear on the front?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I love those things.
They're like that, but like with a glaze and like a kettle corn glaze on it. Oh, those are trouble, man. I should have got 3 bags of those. I bet you can buy it online.
I'm sure you can. They might price gouge you though.
I don't care. Dude, they're cheap.
Really?
Yeah, they're a good price. Yeah. Yeah. It's surprisingly not overpriced at Bussies.
Bussies?
Bussies.
Bussies.
I always get it confused.
Thrash
Not
told
gay
us.
enough, Alan. Sorry.
Thrash told us it was bussies. Remember?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
He clarified for us.
You don't have any gay clips? Not on this
Surprised you
page?
didn't play the drop of me.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks, Alan. Hold on. They're all in blue. The
Oh.
problem is a lot of these are in blue. Alan. Oh,
I do have a soft spot for my beeholes.
that one. Oh, here it is.
I'm going to lean towards bussy.
There we go.
That's what I was
Thanks, bud.
expecting.
Yeah. I'm gonna have some monkey shoulder.
Hell yeah.
Splash. Oh, dude, that I already talked about it on the last show. Okay, I don't have to talk about it again. I get drunk and I forget what I've said. I got a coming back from half sort of non sequitur sort of.
Oh.
Actually, you know what I will say about this joke?
Mhm.
You can add this to my reel for my audition for MSNBC. I'm a Democrat wonk, Alan.
Right.
While I'm wearing my shirt that says "Abolish the ATF."
You can wear that hat on MSNBC.
Yeah. I'm from Tennessee. You can trust me. I have a suggestion on how to keep Trump safe at his rallies. Did you see he did that rally with Elon Musk?
I did.
Where Elon Musk like tried to
Jumped
jump
in the
down,
air.
but he was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just like a couple of inches off the ground each time. That was really weird looking, man.
It was very strange.
Fucking weird. Like, I'm not trying to like fall into their messaging, but that's weird, right? Like,
Fucking weird.
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have a suggestion. Well, the reason I said that is because they were standing behind the plexiglass, right?
Right.
I have a suggestion on how to keep Trump safe at his rallies.
Do tell.
Solitary confinement. Let's get into our the best of the Trump cult. We got quite a bit of the best of the Trump cult. I have best of the right. I have been able to distinguish other members of the right that are not yet, maybe entirely, or at least in this instance, fully.
MAGA.
Yeah, and we have some best of the left, and we'll do a little culture wars and call it a show. Okay.
Sweet.
So we've been kind of talking about Trump's cognitive decline.
Yeah.
This is a clip of Buzz, a very old man, so he should know, right? Talking about it on the Bob Cesca show. I mean that as a compliment.
Heard this elsewhere, but for those outside the paywall, this is from the New York Times article. In fact, how it begins. Former President Donald J. Trump vividly recounted how the audience at his climactic debate with Vice President Kamala Harris was on his side.
Yeah.
Except that there was no audience. The debate was held in an empty hall. No one went crazy, as Mr. Trump put it, because no one was there. Anyone can misremember, of course, but the debate had just been a week earlier and a fairly memorable moment. And it was hardly the only.
Is this the piece you were talking about?
It is. That's the
Oh, I listened to this and I was like, I wish Alan could tell me about this.
That's
Dude,
the opening.
like, worlds are colliding.
That's the opening line to the piece. By the way, he sounds very much like Paul Harvey. His cadence in
I know. Don't get me sad.
I know.
Somebody singed a kitten. Oh, I got Paul Harvey right here. Okay. Here's the rest of Buzz. This is another 10 seconds.
The time Mr. Trump had seemed confused, forgetful, incoherent, or disconnected from reality lately. In fact, it happens so often these days that it no longer even generates much attention.
Nope. I mean,
I didn't stop Bob Cesca in time on that clip.
Yeah, I'm actually talking about that with Billy is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. There's a lot in that article.
Ryan Lee.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Billy Wayne Davis. Yeah.
Billy Wayne Davis. Yes. There's a lot in that article. It's, you know how the Times has the ability you can listen to some of the articles. It was like a 19-minute.
I don't take the time.
It was like a 19-minute listen for that article.
Oh, that's like a podcast. I do that. That's a quick little podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, but as an article goes, that's a long read.
Yes.
Yeah, I suppose so.
A lot of
I don't know how long listening to a news article normally is. So You're saying that's longer than usual.
Yeah, they're usually like 3.
Is this
4
an
days.
opinion piece?
No.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I'm going to start this. I think I have a note for myself to maybe skip halfway through this. We don't need to listen to Trump talk that much, especially if it's a rambling old,
Mm-hmm.
Look at his, like, that's bronzer, right? Like, is it covering rosacea? Oh,
I don't-
Natasha just got back from her youth group.
I don't know what it is, but he's had that look for a while, but it seems to have gotten worse.
Right. Look at his stupid hair. Like, I know it's been decades that he's had like a bad comb over, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just maybe keep that in mind for a later subject. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So just probably weird skin, definitely not good hair, right? I mean, it's his signature look, but like,
Yeah.
just because it is, Anyway, who's trying to kill Donald Trump?
Oh,
Other than golf fanatics and bad marksmen. Well, not a bad.
the Iranians.
Yeah, people with sloped roofs. It's the Iranians. It's the Iranians, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, not if you ask him.
He had planned an outdoor rally, and it would have been amazing. And Washington would not get us. They said that we have to guard the United Nations, which meant the president of North Korea, who's basically trying to kill me. So they want to guard him, but they don't want to guard me. So
Was Kim Jong Il at the UN General Assembly? I don't think he was.
I don't believe so. No.
Okay. All right. So
He rarely travels, and if so, he does it by train typically. So I don't know how to get here exactly.
he doesn't go to New York City.
No.
Okay. So he was talking about Iran, and he said North Korea.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I make mistakes too, but like you're also not calling your opponent. You're not still talking about your opponent as the guy that dropped out of the race 2 months ago, which is another thing he's done where he's made his campaign arguments about Biden, even though it's been Harris for 2 months.
Yes.
Yeah. Here's a good one of him complaining about late night talk show hosts not being funny and making, this is a subjective argument about how late night comedy is not as good as it used to be. Fine. I'll hear that actually. His point is he misses Johnny Carson, right?
Jeez.
But what he says is
Thinking about running, I was going to run. I went on his show, right? And he goes, The Tonight Show, which is dying. They're all dying. Where's Johnny Carson? Bring back Johnny.
Yeah, where's Johnny Carson? Bring back Johnny Carson.
I mean, maybe get Jesus on the line if that's
You're gonna have to get a shovel, right? Like it's been almost 30 years since Johnny Carson's dead.
been quite a while.
Yeah, bring back Johnny Carson. Where's Johnny Carson? We did play, or they mentioned this at the on the
we'll keep on fighting.
They mentioned this at the what did we do that? The Saturday Night Live?
Oh yes.
Yes, this is beautiful bod. Hot bod.
The hot
beach
bod.
bod.
Good life before I did this. Nobody was shooting at me. I had a hell of a life. Oh, those locations, those beautiful. I could have been sunbathing on the beach. You have never seen a body so beautiful. Much better than Sleepy Joe. I will keep on fighting for you
you're, like,
and for
comparing your body to Joe Biden, like as a like relevant statement, right? Like
It's bizarre, man.
Yes.
It's just really, yeah.
you've seen the pictures of me with Rambo's body and my head on it. That's what I would look
Right.
like if I didn't have to run for president.
Sunbathing.
He also tweeted about having a great day out in Louisiana while he was in Georgia. Like these are just examples of things that not only are they examples of what appear to be cognitive decline, if they were happening from Joe Biden, we'd be talking about them.
It'd be all over the place.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like whataboutism type on this. I'm just saying like we talked about it on the show. Like there was reason to say that was a problem,
We did. Yeah.
And so like I know that everybody knows this, but nobody ever fucking says this. This is the benefit you get from building up decades of being the wild card, so that you say so many crazy things all the time, so that when you start to have decline, nobody like singles out anything that you say because they're like, well, yeah, that's part of him being the wild.
That's just who he is. That's what he
Yeah.
said. The way he talks. Yeah.
So this is and like it's strategic, right? Like it is almost built into your strategy for your campaign.
Yeah, I don't know if it's strategic at this point, but it was.
Well, it's helpful at this point because it's not getting attention to it.
Yeah, but like when he's doing these things, I don't think he's doing that intentionally.
No, but you can build yourself up so that when you get to this point, you're still
Sure.
Yeah. So here he is on a podcast, the Hugh Hewitt Show, talking about, I think it was a podcast, maybe it wasn't. He's talking about how this is actually pretty gross. I think I want to cut about halfway through into this one as well. He's talking about immigrants, and he's saying like some of these immigrants have killed people, and I believe that, you know, being a murderer is in your genes. I feel like a lot before I don't want to finish this and get right into what's tempting about this that I've seen a lot of media fall for, which is say like, this is literally Hitler. You know, Hitler was talking about genetics and he's talking about eugenics. And like, I don't think he is. I think that he's being careless with his language, but I don't think he should get a pass for that either. Right. Do you get what I mean by that?
I
Like,
understand. Yeah.
and you don't want to fall for that either. Right. Like you don't want to be like, this is literally Hitler. It's definitely not a good look. Like it's definitely not something you want to be saying. Here, let's let listeners hear it.
Moses, they're so far off. She has no clue. How about allowing people to come through an open border, 13,000 of which were murderers? Many of them murdered far more than one person, and they're now happily living in the United States. You know, now a murderer, I believe this, it's in their genes, and we got a lot of bad genes in our country right now.
So there's a lot of bad genes, is his point. And that's the part that I actually want to dwell on, is the idea of there's a lot of bad genes.
Well, I also, where did he get those numbers that there were 13,000 murders and that they?
I love it. Let's talk about that.
And they murdered more than one person. Like that's not a statistic.
There's like spinners off of spinners, and it doesn't
Right.
really matter where you're at that point because you can't verify how you got there.
Yeah,
All just vibes, right? Like that's how he runs, right?
that is how he runs.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But let's go back. I do want to say this. So like, oh, you know what? I do want to play the beginning of that clip. Hold on. Let me do this. I want to play this. There was something in this. So this is the big clip that everybody's been talking about today about him being, you know, just like Hitler. But he also does say, he says govern mentally with a pause.
She wants to go into government feeding. She wants to feed people. She wants to feed people governmentally. She wants to
It's just like govern mentally.
feed people governmentally.
Governmentally. She wants to feed people governmentally. I actually think that if it weren't for the later part of this clip, we would be talking about that.
About that part.
Saying governmentally, not governmentally, right? Like that feels like somebody trying to say a word he's picturing in his head and doesn't know how to like connect it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Got
I've
lost
had a
in
few
translation.
pops. I do shit like that, right? Like,
Same.
this guy's a teetotaler, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you'll allow me, I need some juice.
Yeah. Govern mentally.
Governmentally. I should write that.
Govern mentally.
I should write that down.
It's like by osmosis.
Mental.
Perhaps.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like big brain time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think, like I said, I don't think we need to go into like the whole this is just like Hitler talk. And if you want to hear that, I'm sure you've heard it already. If you've paid attention to the news, everybody else has been talking about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about genes.
Okay, let's.
Do you think good genes? So he's talking about bad genes, right?
Got a lot of bad
Jessica
genes.
Simpson, not like Jessica Simpson genes.
No.
Not like these Jinkos that the kids are breaking back out again. Remember when Jinko? Now, do you say Jinko or Jenko?
I say Jenko.
How do you say it again?
Jenko.
Jenko?
Yeah.
Jinko.
Jinko.
Like Jinx. Jinko.
Okay.
I think that there's a divide. I think people say this. Other people say this differently than me, but I think I.
Did you have Jinko?
No, I didn't wear Jinkos. I also
Same.
didn't rollerblade. You know why?
I did rollerblade.
I didn't want to have the conversation with my parents about being a homosexual. Yeah. I didn't rollerblade. I had a BMX bike. I was cool.
I had both.
Yeah, bet you did. Some of the, what about those like to swing both ways? ACDCs. So he's talking about bad genes, right? Let's talk about good genes. You think good genes have a stupid fucking comb over for decades to the point that it becomes their signature look?
Yeah, probably not.
Guys, that's not. Is it a good gene that leads to you insisting on taking hair from the back of your head and pulling it forward and then spraying it down and then not letting any wind come by? Don't walk by a helicopter, right? Is that good genes? Is that good genes or is that bad genes?
I would say bad genes.
Okay. What about that thick dumper of his? We've seen that tennis shot of him. Like,
well, I mean that depends on your that's more you know,
diet.
Some people might like.
some people might like it. Yes, okay, all right, we'll give it a pass on that. What about having rosacea or whatever the fuck is going on with his face that he insists on wearing bronzer before he goes outside?
Yeah, probably.
When have you ever seen Donald Trump without makeup?
Never.
Okay, I don't want to talk about that. I don't think that's. I think that is a ad hominem. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah,
homonym.
Homonym. Yes.
Okay, it's not hominid.
No.
Okay, I feel like that's an ad hominem attack.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but if he's gonna bring it up, we'll talk about
I feel like that's bad genes. I don't think he should be the person talking about good and bad genes.
It's a fair point.
And what is this all about? This is about immigrants, right? So he's saying there are immigrants bringing bad genes. Now I am going where the rest of the media is talking about. I mean, he is literally talking about immigrants bringing bad genes into our country.
They're poisoning the blood, Dustin.
Which he said, poisoning the blood, right?
Yes.
So that hand in hand with another statement of his that he has not had any desire to retract or modify, right?
Yeah.
Like we know that he's fully comfortable saying they're poisoning the blood and they have bad genes. We're talking about someone who is seeing this in the lens of immigrants are bringing down our national genetic character, right?
That's what he's saying. Yes.
2 of his wives were immigrants. His mother was an immigrant. And just like zoom the fuck out, we're all here from immigrants. Like that's one thing that's really cool about our country.
This is very true. All of that is true. You're making
now
great
I know
points,
that like we're talking. I know when I mentioned all of those people in his life that were immigrants, they all happen to be women, and women aren't people, but like I would assume that like some of the people that he wants to vote for him come from families of immigrants. Like you want to be subtle enough that you can draw them in to vote for you. And how does that fucking work when you say that they bring bad genes?
Yeah, it seems like it would be at cross purposes to his intent for sure.
All right. Fine. I'm sure we'll have plenty of chances to come back to that. I'm fine moving on.
Is anybody okay? Is there anybody here that's going to vote for Lion Kamala?
Oh, hey,
Please raise your hand.
remember when the left has been spreading violent rhetoric?
Oh yeah, I remember that. That's why he got shot.
Please raise it. Actually, I should say don't raise your hand. It would be very dangerous. We don't want to see anybody get hurt. Please don't raise your hand. Are you?
Yeah. This clip goes well with that clip as long as we're talking about how the left is spreading violent rhetoric.
Which is like nobody's even bothering to try to kill Kamala because it's pointless.
Now, if you're listening, that voice sounds familiar. It's him from this.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
It's Elon Musk talking to Tucker.
What do you achieve? Nothing.
No, it's totally
find
right.
another puppet.
Exactly. That's
It's no point in killing.
It's deep and true, though.
Nobody's trying to kill Joe Biden.
It's in,
It would be
bless you.
pointless.
Totally.
Fuck Tucker. Tucker sucks.
Tucker. I'm Tucker.
Does he eat dogs?
Boys who got good. I smoked crack with Barack Obama and had sex with him. Well,
Tucker.
Elon thinks he's the funniest guy in the room.
Dude,
always.
it's so cringe. Like, did you
It
listen
really
to that episode? I liked the episode of Hardcore History that he was on, the addendum episode. But even then, like towards the end, he's like, "Oh, what about the history of some etymology of some words?" He tried to do like a Cody Tucker thing, and it was
I
just.
didn't listen to that, so I
You should go back and listen to it.
Okay, I will.
Dude, towards the end, he's like, "What about the etymology of the phrase balls to the wall?" And it's just dumb. And it was just
okay.
They had a lot of other conversations about like engineering and how certain fighter pilots in history had better engineering and something about like the combustion, something about the their engines. I'm forgetting now, but it was that part was fascinating. He also had like a aerospace engineer guy on, like their chief guy from space.
Oh, SpaceX. Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just so he's sitting there on Tucker, just like joking about how nobody wants to kill Kamala Harris, but like, yeah, but it's the Democrats that are spreading
the violent rhetoric.
Yeah. Because they'll replace him with a puppet, as if like they wouldn't just move JD Vance up there gladly to be like, thank God we don't have this old senile man there anymore.
Of course.
Because that was the whole point of the Republican debate was Vance went up there and said Trump's bullshit with like a slick pattern to it that was more palatable, and people were like, "Oh, if this is what Trump means, this guy should be saying it." So, like, yeah, I think you got your own puppet system going on just fine over there.
You put the pills in the peanut butter. That's how you do it.
And once they get used to that, you wrap that in bread, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so funny. As someone that's been fostering dogs and dealing with shit like that and medication, oh my God, you put the pills in the peanut butter. Oh my, the pills in the peanut butter. Remind me of that one. Pills, peanut butter. When I show you this butter, that's what that says. Okay, I'm gonna open this next clip. That's
Okay,
pills in the
got it.
peanut butter. All right. Trump says that he'd revoke status and deport Haitians back to the immigrants. Fun.
Springfield is such a beautiful place. Have you seen what's happened to it? It's been overrun.
Editorial comment here. It's not. It's Ohio. Like we don't have to lie. Like
We don't. Yeah,
it's an opportunity for industry, but like it's Springfield's not a beautiful place.
You can't do that to people. They have to be removed.
So you would revoke the temporary protected status?
Absolutely. I'd revoke it and I'd bring them back to their country.
So when people say like he's going to deport people in mass deportations, which means you're going to have sectors of government complying with mass deportation, which means you're probably going to have to house people somewhere.
Right.
Very quickly, you start coming up with a reasonable scenario for camps.
Yep. And these are people. He's talking about people who have been here for years, who've made lives here, who have
children here,
children
who have citizen children here.
Yes, and jobs and homes and careers and all of that.
Living the American dream.
Yes.
Like they came here and are outliving the quality of life their parents had, which is the promise of America.
It used to be.
Fuck, man. I hate you when you say shit like that. I got nothing to say. You can't shoot me through the heart like that. I'm trying to be funny.
I know.
No, you're good. You're good. Keep doing it. Let's go on to the next clip. It makes the show shorter. Here's more of Elon Musk lying. Oh, dude, I think I got the rally. I think I got stuff from that rally. A Wowie? Yeah, this is from the Wowie.
I think this election,
This is such weak energy, right? Like for the group of people that talk about like testosterone and like masculinity,
right.
Like this is such beta cuck shit. Like
cucked husbands is the best. Cucked husbands is the best.
Sorry.
most important election of our lifetime.
So he's going to talk about how this is the most important election of our lifetime, and that I think this is the clip where he says the most important thing we can do right now is register to vote. He said that over the weekend. In many states, by the time you're hearing this, yesterday was the deadline to do so. Yes. And I feel like if that were true, you would have said that weeks and weeks and weeks ago.
Yep, that was your message. Yeah.
But what do they actually focus on? They focus on stifling Democrat turnout and finding ways to interrupt that. And also, what's the other thing they do? They I forgot. It's fine. I'll remember it later.
This is no ordinary election. The other side wants to take away your freedom of speech. They want to take away your right to bear arms. They want to. It's
be a lot cooler if you said it with like an American accent, right?
They want to take away your right to vote effectively. You got 14 states now that don't require voter ID. California
is taking away your right to vote because they're not going to require voter ID. Are you following? Like we argued about that last week. I told you I disagree with not requiring some sort of voter ID, but that is not taking away your right to vote.
No,
I don't even understand the train of thought there.
Where I used to live, is just passed a law banning voter ID for voting. I still can't believe that's real. Like, text people now. Now.
This is his big call for action.
Right. Call to action.
Text people now.
Text them
Sounds
now.
like fucking Milton from earlier, right? Like they stole my stapler and they put me down into the basement.
Oh, and then make sure they actually do vote. If they
don't throw a ball bearing at one of your stupid trucks.
Don't. This will be the last election.
Which is it's hilarious. They were like, "What are Democrats saying? How can we say it so that it like in a formulaic way cancels it out?" Right? Like, that's all they're doing.
It feels like he's trying to be Kurt Loder at Rock the Vote a little bit. Like he's trying to bring
dated reference, man, but I get it. As someone who just turned 42, I'm going to tell you, I like that joke.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think there's much more in that clip. It does just look desperate though, right? I feel like honestly, I feel like that to me, I don't think that moves the needle. Like that was okay, how about let me put it this way. They went into that day thinking this is going to be an epic day.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen like Bull Moose and group chats being like, it's fucking over. They're done. It's like, dog, you like, you're jumping on this shit every fucking chance you get. I love Bull Moose, but he's like, it's over. It's never been more over constantly. Anytime that there's like any formulaic thing that the Republicans have been trying to do. But like that was a dud. That was a dud.
Yeah, I mean, even if you listen to the crowd's reaction, there wasn't really
right, because they're like, why am I listening to this fucking like heir to a diamond mine or emerald mine, like douchebag that I don't want to like,
Yeah, he was always eccentric, but he's become more and more unlikable as he's gotten older. Yeah, I don't think they got what they expected from that appearance.
No, yeah. But he did tell you need to register for vote right before the deadline. There are some states that's further away. I went through a list of states. Some of them are later in October. California, you can register like a day before.
Yeah, I think so.
But they're trying to steal your
right
goes back to is in the same speech. He's right. Like, I don't understand how that makes any sense. Can you explain that at all?
No. So what he's saying is that the fact that they're not requiring ID is taking away your right to vote, which is like, if anything, the opposite.
Yes. Okay. All right. Let's play a little bit of some Brainwash MAGA. We used to play these more often, but it just feels gratuitous.
Yeah.
But let's not forget that these people are out there, okay?
Okay.
We went to bed and Trump was up. Go to bed. Right? We go to bed, we wake up, and what?
We're talking about election night 2020.
You're watching the Super Bowl and you go get a snack and you come back and the score is flipped. Are you thinking that the Super Bowl is rigged, or is that how counting works?
Well, when you're adding ballots, how do you subtract?
Right.
You can't. There are no ballots subtracted.
Subtract a score.
So genuinely, it concerns me. It genuinely concerns me when Donald Trump brings these court cases to.
I like the way he engages. He does a good job of like not.
He's not offensive, but he's.
Yeah, but he's still direct, and
Right.
and he might say things. I mean, I think me and you could probably get away with doing this in the same way, because it's like, look, I'll jab you, but like, I'm not going to do it in a way that makes you run away from this.
Right.
Yeah.
To 60 courts with Trump-appointed judges, and they say there's no fraud. And then when I talk to people like you say we don't trust the courts, we don't trust Mike Pence, you don't trust the FBI,
No,
you don't trust Bill Barr, you don't trust anybody but Donald Trump. Is there anybody other than Trump?
Sure there is.
Like who, like Rudy Giuliani?
Okay,
or...
let's say this, Byron Donalds.
You really, Byron
Scott.
Donalds?
Oh, I love Byron Donalds.
Really?
And
Are you gonna say Mark Robinson next?
Yes, I am.
You like Mark Robinson?
They're like black Republican. I love like all four of them on the TV, not in general on the TV.
I do. Yes, I do. Marjorie Taylor, Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz, like them all.
Did you read Mark Robinson's post from New Africa?
What did he say?
He said he's a black Nazi who reads Mein Kampf and he likes on
Listen, I don't believe that at all. I don't believe it.
Why did all of it?
What was beeped, Alan? What was beeped?
I don't actually.
I feel like the word tranny was in there.
Yeah, I think that probably was. Yeah.
I
I mean, there's also. I don't know if we talked about this, but he had some like fantasy fiction he wrote about his sister-in-law. Whether it's fiction or not, but that was pretty wild.
Talk to me about this, Alan. Was this in his comments in the comment section? He
Yes.
like dropped out like a rough draft of some.
Yeah, like saying, yeah, my sister-in-law came over last week, and I don't know the exact.
No, just keep going, James.
He talks about fucking her and her coming all over the place and him coming all over the place, and it's just a whole thing, man.
Graphic.
Yeah, very.
Was his wife okay with this? Or did he have
Unclear.
to keep it a secret? He's like, you can't tell my wife. Was it something that-
Unclear. Also unclear whether or not it actually happened, or that was.
Oh, I don't think this is true.
Yeah, probably not. Okay, probably not.
All right.
All of his campaign staff drop out then. All of his
I don't.
Okay,
think
so wait. Can I just ask you, Jen? This is another example of you saying it's a fake story.
Right.
It's a fake court case. Everything that doesn't comport with your view is fake automatically. Can you see where I run into problems there?
Well, I could see that.
Can you step into my shoes and understand?
Here, how about this? How about
I like that. I like that. Can you step into my shoes and understand? That's how you engage with someone like this,
Yeah,
right?
appeal to empathy. Yeah.
this? Right? We went to.
And then it ends there.
So I watched.
Thank you.
Okay.
I watched the 60 Minutes from last night with Kamala interview on it.
You didn't send me any clips. I do have one clip from it.
I didn't really feel like there was anything very outstanding in her.
I'm hearing that she's been strategically vague, and
she mostly doesn't answer the questions.
Yeah.
And when the interviewer tries to redirect her, she still doesn't answer.
I don't have that. I think I wanted that clip. I do have a clip about that. Why don't you say what you're going to say anyways, but leave some space to touch on it again later?
Okay. All right. So first of all, I haven't watched 60 Minutes in a very long time. And
you're not 90 years old.
I forgot.
It's on Sunday going up against like Sunday Night Football.
Yeah. I forgot their style. It's very it's very monotone. It's very slow. It's almost like they're squeezing the words out when they talk. It's very difficult to watch, dude. It's almost like,
especially after you've been watching football all day.
Sure. Yeah, it's just like,
come on, like remember what's been going on in your life going up to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's fucking pulling teeth to watch this shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think the only really notable thing she said when she talked about owning a gun. That was kind of funny.
She said it was a Glock.
She did say it was a Glock. And then he asked her if she's
right here, Alan. It's supposed to be in the living room.
Yeah. He asked her if she's fired it, and she was like, "Of course,
hold on.
I
made an oopsie. Hold on.
Don't make an oopsie with a gun.
Oh, everything's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. She's like, looks at him like, asked a crazy question. She's like, "Of course I fired it. Like I have I fired it."
Wait. The interviewer asked her if she's fired it.
Yes.
What a dumb question.
It is a dumb question.
Wait, does that betray him being like sort of a like leftist pussy and be like, you have a gun, so we'll have you fired it? Like,
yeah. Have you used it?
So did you hit the target? Can I touch it? Is it warm?
Actually, but more interestingly, so after her interview, they were dealing with a bunch of local.
I hate these 15 rounds because you really got to push those last few in.
Yeah, sometimes you really got to do that. They interviewed some local politicians in, I want to say it was Arizona, like county supervisors and people that you don't really think about very much, but who are involved in like counting and certifying elections, and local, like, I don't know, maybe state Congress members, things like that. And there were some people very similar to the person that was just interviewed in that last clip that they highlighted.
But it was like a congressman, state official?
Yeah. And dude, and even like talk about the calls for violence. One of them, like at a public event, called for said if this other politician was here, I would lynch him. Like, yeah. And then afterwards, she's like, I meant politically lynch. I wasn't.
Was he black?
No, I don't think so. And they played some phone calls that one of the politicians got, who was a huge Trump supporter. But when the election results came down, he was like, no, Trump didn't win in Maricopa County. And the phone calls, the death threats that he got, they played one or two of those that were just, fuck, man. This is a guy that was called out by name by Trump at a rally for being a huge supporter and doing good things. And then after the election happened and he certified it and said, no, look, I've looked at the data. He lost. Everything turned. But
something I keep in mind when I see these people that are like just so clearly brainwashed.
Yeah.
I remember that there are people that buy season tickets to the Browns year after year after year. So like it's a mentality that like that's not everyone, right?
Sure.
But it is enough in Cleveland to largely sell out a stadium.
I mean, there's still people here like rocking Raiders gear, and I'm like, dude, they fucked you twice.
You know what? Raiders is a great example. Raiders is a wonderful example, actually, because I've never understood that in the same way.
It makes no sense.
I'm gonna wear my fucking like Guar death metal outfit and go to a football game with spikes on my shoulders.
Yeah,
Guar. That is offensive to Guar. Like,
it is.
All right. I got one more clip from Best of MAGA, then we'll do some Best of the Right. This is Trump. I heard this today while I was cleaning the hotel room. Actually, I should be really careful with that. I took a huge shit and then I came out of the bathroom and the hotel room was cleaned. And Natasha was like, "It's really easy. You just like, put everything back into the bag." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I didn't clean. The important part is not the poop. Not the poop. I hate pooping in a hotel room with your wife because like it's not like there's a loud fan like at your house.
Yeah, I agree.
Even in a nice hotel like the Hilton, it's just like, I got to turn the sink on or something. You
ever do the move where you use the bathroom in the lobby?
Oh, dude, I tried to. Somebody pissed all over the seat.
Oh God,
I know. I was like, God damn it, fucking animals. There's 10 people in this whole town and somebody pissed on the seat. Seat pissers did this. Anyway, so I was like, I had the TV on, and I heard Trump say this on an interview with Laura Ingraham. And I pronounce every syllable.
Sure,
it's Ingraham.
Like you do.
You can't say that it's Laura Ingraham. It's Ingraham.
Ingraham. Yes.
Sound off. Be proud. This is a phrase. When I went to find the clip to add it to the show sheet, it turns out he's actually been saying this a lot. Going back years.
How will you restore faith in our justice system? A lot of people will say, well, he's just going to do to them what they did to him and get back at them.
He's like, well, I will.
And
a lot of people say that's what should happen.
Well,
you want to know the truth.
But I think...
You hear me?
I mean,
that was a George Bush laugh.
But I think,
how do you like me now? Quoting Toby Keith over here.
Punitively using government institutions is what got us in this mess in the first place. And our town hall that we did back in February, one of the lines that really resonated, I think, with people is when you said, "My revenge is going to be my success."
Yeah, well, I do believe that, but I will say this: they have started a terrible precedent. We've never.
So, am I hearing that wrong? That she set him up with a line that she was hoping he could sort of like sane wash himself,
and he didn't. He just leaned into it.
Yeah.
Had this. We do have that in third world countries, banana republics, a lot in South America where they go after somebody politically that's an opponent. We never had it to any great extent, really almost at all.
But you're not going to do that. When you get in office, you're going to look at all your political enemies.
No, I want to make this the most successful country in the world. That's what I want to do.
How will you restore faith?
I mean, I guess she did sort of walk him there eventually, right?
That was like the whole dictator question. He's like, you don't want to be a dictator, right? He's like, just stay one. Just stay one.
Just stay one. Yeah, only for a little bit. Only briefly. Yeah.
Just the tip.
Let's move on to some of the best of the right. This is very clearly not the best of MAGA and Trumpistan, because this is Ron DeSantis, who got pissed on all over by Donald Trump when he tried to run up against him. So Ron DeSantis, for no reason, has brought himself into the media recently. I don't actually get this at all because he's not running for president anymore. He failed horribly at it.
It's ego, man. It's ego.
Is it ego? Talk about it before I play the clip.
No, I agree. He really doesn't have, like, there's no reason for him to be putting himself out there like this. He can just, go to his office and do his job and go home at night. But for whatever reason, he wants to be in front of the camera. And so here we are.
Listen to what she said.
Well, we don't have the sound, but she said, moment of crisis, if nothing else, should really be the moment that anyone calls himself a leader, says they're going to put politics aside and put the people first. People are in desperate need of support right now and playing political games at this moment in these crisis situations. These are the height of emergency situations. It's just utterly irresponsible and it's selfish.
This is not set up very well. Sorry. I should have told you this is a clip about how Kamala Harris tried to contact Ron DeSantis, Rhonda, and Ron said he's not going to talk to her. He didn't answer her call, and he said that it was a political move.
And this is in context of the
hurricane relief.
Yes.
Only a culture warrior would decline contact from the administration and call it a political move, right?
Very much so.
And it's about political gamemanship. What's your response?
Well, I think she should look in the mirror. We've been on an emergency footing for 2 weeks straight, round the clock, 24/7. We've been working, my office, our Division of Emergency Management, helping people prepare for Hurricane Helene, helping effectuate rescues of people after Hurricane Helene, helping people pick up the pieces of their lives after Helene, and then have to also turn around and prepare for major impacts and maybe even more impacts from Hurricane Milton, be able to have rescue personnel ready to help people, and then, of course, help with the power restoration, all these things to do. So that's been my sole focus. My focus has not been on dealing with Kamala Harris. I saw the news report. I didn't know she tried to contact me, but I'd also say it's not about you, Kamala.
Right.
It's about the people of Florida. My focus.
How do you get to say that when you declined the call from the vice president?
Right. I didn't know I didn't see the missed call, man. Sorry. I don't.
But it's not about you. It's like, well, so she was asked that, it was brought up that there had been a failure of communication, and you're saying it's not about you. Like, you're the
were
one
the
that could have
failure part.
answered a phone call.
Yeah. You were the
And he's
failure
saying he
part.
doesn't have time. You don't have time for the vice president. You don't have time for the president. Like one of two worlds is true. Do you like living in the world where you say Joe Biden's not running anything and she's doing it? You should answer the call then.
Take the fucking phone call.
Yeah. I mean, you were talking about like directing with the aid process, right? Like,
right.
So we got a little bit of other news from Ron DeSantis, and maybe the reason I kind of expected you to set that one up before I hit
direction.
and I think that the reason why, and I'm thinking because of this clip coming up, I think you weren't sure where to go with what Ron DeSantis clip.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where we were.
Yeah, because you're aware of this one too, right?
Yes.
Strike breaker in chief.
Yeah. Yes.
So look, man, like I like being pro-union in the sense of like these fuckers make a shitload of money and they should be paying their employees.
Yes.
I also am a realistic person, and I don't know, man. I feel like there was a little bit of a strong arm by that union. Like the way that they did that, it feels like there could have been another way to get that. It didn't have to go to that level. I'm not saying I support here. Let me play this clip. Okay.
At my direction, the Florida National Guard and Florida State Guard will be deployed to critical ports affected to maintain order and, if possible, resume operations, which would otherwise be shut down during this interruption. Florida Department of Transportation is coordinating calls with Seaport Rail and trucking partners to ensure that all are prepared and positioned appropriately to limit disruptions to the.
We can play. The microphone's terrible. Did you hear it enough? Did he basically say we were going to put the National Guard in there to run the ports if the strike goes through?
That is what was implied by that.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So, yes, they got a massive wage increase over 6 years, which
And their line of work can be automated. Like there are fully automated ports.
there are.
These buggy whip operators over here demanding that they shut down our fucking economy.
So so there obviously, if you are in another industry and you see somebody getting, that kind of
I'm not doing that. I'm not
wage
saying that.
increase. Oh, no, I'm saying, but perhaps people would. You might look at that and be
Don't
like,
look at
"That-
other people's plates unless it's whether or not you could put some of your
Okay.
food on theirs.
Sure. But what the flip side of that is that this company was willing to pay that in this market, which means
did
they
agree.
can, and they can afford it. And perhaps if they were
That's
willing
actually a really good
to
point.
go 67% over 6
62.
years, 62 over 6 years, then perhaps they were underpaid given their value. So
Great point.
it's not like the company, they had other options here. They didn't have to.
What was going to
sign-
happen to all those boats sitting in dock during a hurricane?
Don't touch our boats.
Seriously,
I mean-
what do those boats do when a hurricane comes? Are they fine in a storm?
You know what?
I know you don't know the answer.
I don't know that, but I would imagine they wouldn't be in the kind of storms that we're talking
I don't
about.
think they move fast. They go, "Oop, hurricane
No.
vroom, over here." Like,
Yeah, those things aren't exactly super maneuverable. So they're fucking massive. And they're
okay. So wait, is your point that they caved and they agreed to a huge raise which shows that they were able to do so.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think the only counter to that could be that in 6 years they expect to not fulfill that obligation because they'll be automated. And that is kind of the hanging point, because that isn't fully resolved, right? Like some of the, like they went back to work and they're still negotiating. And I think that largely has to do with automation, right?
I think they are still working on that.
These people are not going to have a line of work. I mean, because why would you? Like, why wouldn't you have it automated?
Yeah.
That's the promise of the leisure of capitalism, right? We're going to have 4-day work weeks, and
somehow it never works out that way.
And somehow, yeah,
it's weird.
Okay. Yeah, dude, Ron DeSantis was going to like use the National Guard to break a strike.
That's wild.
I do want to play this. I know we touched on this with an earlier clip in the show, but I think it's actually really good to like stick around on this subject and not let it drift too far out of our minds. So Big fucking Mike. Here's Big Mike. Remember when we talked about this earlier about how Mike Johnson didn't want to bring Congress back to vote on emergency funding for hurricane victims? Here's
after the election. That's 30 days from now. The thing about these hurricanes and disasters of this magnitude is that it takes a while to calculate the actual damages, and the states are going to need some time to do that. I'm from Louisiana. We're a hurricane-prone state. We're experts at disaster recovery. We've done this. You don't just send estimates to the federal.
You guys did such a bang-up job during Katrina. Everybody loves motherfucking FEMA, and they fucking deserve it, but the state was just as bad. Is that really what you're saying? You're good at this?
We're experts, apparently.
Federal government, you send specific needs and requests based upon the actual damages, and that takes some time, especially with storms of this magnitude. So Congress will do its job. Remember that before we left Washington, the day before Helene hit, by the way, made landfall, Congress appropriated $20 billion additional dollars to FEMA so that they would have the immediate dollars they need to address the immediate needs. Then after that, Congress always takes the due approach of providing what is necessary. Congress will provide. We will help the people in these disaster-prone areas. It's an appropriate role for the federal government, and you'll have bipartisan support. Look, we'll be back
just after the election. You know,
yeah.
We just need this to be a problem for the Democrats until then.
Yeah, we want to run on this issue, just like the border, just like immigration.
It's so disgusting, man.
It really is.
Let's get to some of the best of the left. I have a note that says, "Guess who's back?" Oh, this was really good. This was so fucking good. Oh my God. I don't know how this wasn't in the news more. So I thought this was hilarious. So this is Joe Biden. No, Joe Biden. Somebody asked him, I don't know how well the audience is mic'd or the reporters are mic'd, but they asked him if he wishes he didn't drop out of the race.
Okay.
Do you want to reconsider dropping out of the race? I'm back in.
Yes, who's back?
Back again.
Again. Joe is back. Tell some men.
Hello, friend.
Oh, is that it? So Harris went on 60 Minutes. We've talked about this quite a bit. So it's a tradition that, well, you know what? I don't have to set this up. Oh, by the way, this version of Best of the Left is making fun of the right.
It's been a tradition for more than half a century that the major party candidates for president sit down with 60 Minutes in October. In 1968, it was Richard Nixon and Hubert Humphrey. This year, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump accepted our invitation. But unfortunately, last week, Trump canceled. The Trump campaign had told us that the interview would be this past Thursday at Mar-a-Lago. They also asked us whether we would meet 78-year-old Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, where he was grazed in an assassination attempt. We agreed. On September 9th, Trump's communications director, Stephen Chung, sent a text that read, quote, "I'm working with our advance team to see logistically if Butler would work in addition to the sit-down." Sit-down meaning the interview in Florida. Days later, Chung called to say, quote, "The president said yes." Then, a week ago, Trump backed out. The campaign offered shifting explanations. First, it complained that we would fact-check the interview.
So you're saying you're worried about your lies being
Right.
okay?
Like JD Vance.
Yeah.
I was told you weren't going to fact check me.
fact check every story.
So wait, they're like, we're a news agency. We fact check every story.
Later, Trump said he needed an apology for his interview in 2020. Trump claims
one with Leslie Stahl, where Trump took his headphone or earpiece off and walked out in the middle of it. Remember?
correspondent Leslie Stahl said in that interview that Hunter Biden's controversial laptop came from Russia. She never said that. Trump has said his opponent doesn't do interviews because she can't handle them. He had previously declined another debate with Harris, so tonight may have been the largest audience for the candidates between now and Election Day. Our questions addressed the economy, immigration, reproductive rights, and the wars in the Middle East and Europe. Both campaigns understood this special would go ahead if either candidate backed out. And so with that, here's Bill Whitaker.
So like Alan said, this was not a slam dunk for Harris. She had a lot of word salads and non-answers, and she was very evasive, largely, which you'd kind of expect from any candidate. I'm not,
that's kind of what you do.
Yeah. And people on the right, people in, Brown's ticket owners of Magistan were like, oh man, Trump dodged a third bullet today, which is a good joke. But like, that's true for people that are in one camp or the other. Like, got to remember, this is for the 11% of people out there that somehow have not committed to a candidate yet. So while all of us who have made up our mind somehow, that's not the person that you got to be thinking about. And I think that, so here's Harris. I think this is her. This is like the best clip of her. This is the best quality clip of her. This is not one of the bad ones. I'm going to play a Fox version afterwards.
Okay.
Where they kind of nitpick it, and then I'm going to play the unedited non-Fox version of the same thing. But here's like the best canned clip. The when I listened to the Bob Cesca show, this is the clip they played, right? Like this is the lefty clip of looking how good Kamala did.
You are sitting here with us. The Trump campaign canceled an interview that they had agreed to participate in this broadcast. What do you make of that?
If he is not going to give your viewers the ability to have a meaningful, thoughtful conversation, question and answer with you, then watch his rallies. You're going to hear conversations that are about himself and all of his personal grievances. And what you will not hear is anything about you, the listener. You will not hear about how he's going to try to bring the country together, find common ground. And Bill, that is why I believe in my soul and heart the American people are ready to turn the page.
See the hashtag on this video? Yes, we can.
God,
I know. So that's good, right? That's politician. What is it? Governmentally. That's politician speak, right?
It is definitely. You see what I'm talking about with the interview style, like the way he says the word.
I mean, it's sleepy time at the end of a day of watching football. Yeah,
it's very 60 minutes. Yeah.
So this is 2 minutes. We're not going to do all 2 minutes of this. This is what's this? Jesse Waters on Fox. So granted, this is their entertainment television show.
Low budget Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
So Harris began a media blitz this week. This is how 60 Minutes went.
So they're just not even addressing the fact that their preferred candidate
decided not to.
Yeah, they're like, she's on a media blitz. She went on 60 Minutes. This is how 60 Minutes covered for her. It's like, what are you doing, man? So his thrust of his point here is that there's a line here where the interviewer implies that she's not living in the real world. So they've kind of cut this in a way that makes it sound like that's what he's saying, and that even 60 Minutes thinks that she's disingenuous, whatever they want her to be, right?
It seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, The work that we have done has resulted in a number of
I don't even want to play that part. It's just a bunch of fucking word salad, honestly. I'm skipping 20 seconds ahead.
advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
I don't know what she just said there. Even 60 Minutes told her she's not living in the real world.
My plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
You see that cut there, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the video. So and this is a good point, right? Because she doesn't directly answer this. He's like, how are you going to pay for it?
Is about saying that when you invest in small businesses.
Okay, we already heard that, right? I don't want to make us having to hear things twice. Okay, here we go.
Was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes. It is not right that teachers and nurses and firefighters are paying a higher tax rate than billionaires and the biggest corporations. And I plan on making that fair.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to get this through Congress?
Does that sound like the host just said she's not living in the real world?
No.
Okay.
And it's also, she says, she comes right back and says the real world again. Yeah, I mean, so her answer to that, so he quoted...
She still doesn't say how she's going to pay. And his point is, you have to work with Congress. How are you going to do that, right?
Right.
And she won't fucking say that.
No, well...
Because you can't say that.
Before that, what he brings up is that a nonpartisan group, I don't remember what the acronym is, but this nonpartisan group of economists said that her plan would add trillions of dollars to the national debt. And so I think she responds to that and says, well, you know, economists say Trump's plan would add even more. And then she goes in, he says, well, how are you going to pay for it though? And then she doesn't answer. So he redirects, says it again. And she says that the whole thing about she's going to, you know, increase taxes. But she doesn't answer
his
the
question. Is how is Congress going to get that through?
Right. Oh, and then so the Congress thing. So she does actually respond to that, and she says, "Well, I disagree with you. I think that there are plenty of Congress members who could get on board with this." Now, that
Doesn't
might
really answer it.
Not really, but she's saying she thinks she can get it done with Congress, and he's saying he doesn't think so. Is essentially what that boiled down to. But that was an actual back and forth conversation.
Yeah, right. But if you edit it so it's just like you're not in the fucking real world, and if you live in Foxistan, that's what you saw.
Yep, that's what you're gonna see. Yeah.
It's another battle in the culture wars. Oh, not the culture wars. They're worried about a culture war. Culture wars. Stop with the culture wars.
I think I'm going to skip this one about Ducey. No, I have to play it because I mentioned it. This is her with her suit. Look at this.
Talking head suit.
Yes, she looks like fucking David Byrne.
And I will tell you what you value. If he's got money for people in Lebanon right now, without Congress having to come back, what does it say about his values? There's not enough money right now for people in North Carolina who need it. That's not misinformation.
Wait, no, that is your whole premise of the question is misinformation, sir. What you do? Yes, it's misinformation.
Is there money to send to Lebanon right now?
I just mentioned.
I think you saw this, right?
Yes.
I just mentioned to you that we provided more than $200 million to folks who are impacted in the area. And I just shared with you that people are deciding not to, people are deciding not to,
wait. To Congress that there's not enough money to help people in North
talking
Carolina.
about the SBA.
Ducey gained some dad weight, didn't he?
It does appear
Yeah,
that
around his head's getting
a little bit.
Disaster loan.
That's
yes.
money for people in North Carolina.
And that's important, and people in North Carolina need that. Wait, this is nothing new. Peter, this is nothing new. Congress comes together, they provide money, millions of dollars, for disaster relief. We're asking them to do the job that they have been doing for some time.
From a letter that President Biden sent to Johnson, McConnell, Schumer, and Jeffries. The president's letter is not misinformation. Would you agree?
No, the way you're asking me the question is misinformation.
Which is the point, right? That's what her point was, right? Do you want to talk about this at all?
you're framing it in a way that is misinformation, and
Right.
you're saying that
Which
we're
is the
sending
point, right? Misinformation isn't lies; it's spreading information in a way that misinforms from the context of how
Yes.
you're. Okay,
Yes, exactly. So you're saying that we're sending money to Ukraine, but we don't have enough money to provide for victims of this hurricane in North
Or
Carolina,
Lebanon, yeah.
which first of all isn't true. And second of all, Congress has the power of the purse. They're the ones that appropriate spending, and they've done both of those. And there is enough money for the people that are affected by Helene.
I mean, this is all fake money, anyways, and we're terribly in debt. That's a separate problem.
But I mean, so yeah, just his whole framing of the question, as she said, is misinformation.
Okay, I'm gonna zoom in.
Okay.
That looks like a child wearing their
Their
kid's
dad's
suit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
There's
yeah.
money that we are allocating to the impacted
Even the cup.
areas, and there's money
Looks like an NBA player in the '90s that got drafted. They're like, tailored. I'm not gonna have you cut this. I just spent a lot of money on this thing.
there to help people who truly need it. There are survivors who need the funding, and it's there.
That you don't like misinformation.
I said
That's
that,
very-
I actually said we have the money available to help survivors of hurricane.
I'm gonna stop this. I don't want to listen to it.
Yeah.
My problem with her
Mhm.
is that she should be better. Like, she should be able to successfully disrupt his attack.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess in a sense she did, but she loses her composure and she starts getting into these arguments with him. And
Yeah.
yeah, I would expect better from the communications director of the White House.
Yeah, I think if you compare her to like Psaki, I mean, Psaki would have done, probably
She was making a different point before he interrupted her again, and that redirected her from what she was actually saying in the first place, too.
Yeah.
Which happens when you lose your composure and you start going down the next thing. So he's sort of gish galloping you, right?
Yeah. And then you're falling for it, or she
Yeah.
was falling for it. Yeah.
I sent you this on Instagram. Did you see it? It was about the Hatch Act and the Biden administration being investigated. We're in the culture war segment. This one's kind of stupid. I think it's worth talking about because people are spreading this stuff, but it's so dumb.
Every single person that's on Medicare right now is fucked after the election. And I'm going to be real with you. The Biden-Harris administration fucked you so hard, I don't even know if electing Trump can save you. Let me explain. So the Biden
Imagine thinking Trump would save you.
Harris administration is currently under investigation for violation of the Hatch Act. Now,
Or you mean like when Mike Pompeo went on TV and campaigned for President Trump as the Secretary of State or whatever he was?
Yep.
I mean that violation of the Hatch Act.
Yeah.
Okay.
I recognize a lot of you don't
The
know.
whole time he tells this story, I'm like, none of this sounds like a violation of the Hatch Act. Basically, what they're going to come down to is they're saying that they used government funding, which is a version of the Hatch Act. I mean, it is. But normally you think of it as like campaigning, using your position for campaigning. Yeah.
Know what that is? But at its most basic, the Hatch Act prohibits political activity conducted in an official capacity. Now, in this particular situation, what they're investigating the Biden-Harris administration for is that they are inappropriately using taxpayer funds to mask defective Medicare Part D policies.
He's going to keep saying, well,
These are policies that would increase the
I'm looking at the time. I don't want to. So he keeps repeatedly saying the Biden-Harris administration, you're fucked, like over and over again, like in a messaging way,
Right.
I decided to look into this, and all I Googled was Medicare Biden-Harris Hatch Act. And what I found was this link here. I'm going to open it up and share it here for the class. Why don't you read that to the class while I open up the next clip?
Yep. Let me make the window big enough so I can actually see it. Postpone meddling with Medicare, the Biden-Harris cover-up.
So the people who are saying that their point is that they used EV charging station money inappropriately, and then they stole Medicaid money to fund it or something like that, right? Okay. And they're saying that they've only funded Medicare through the election. So I would think you wouldn't postpone something until after the election. The hearing. So the hearing is a Republican committee. I mean, it's a congressional committee, right? So it's Republican staffed committee.
Mm-hmm.
So they were having a hearing with biased people, at least in terms of you don't want Harris to win the election, right?
Sure.
But they
So you wanted
decided to
happen before
postpone
the election.
But they postponed it.
Sure, that makes no
But
sense.
but the whole thing is about how this is triggered to fuck people until after the election. Like,
right?
Okay, I don't think it's true. I bet there's something shady there. I don't trust them, but
It doesn't make sense politically to do that.
Remember that Coke in the White House?
Oh yeah,
in the library or whatever.
The line security found a bag of cocaine, and the worst part of it was that it got
You can trust this guy because it's on a night cam video and the face is blurred out.
to the journalist. So the matter couldn't be hushed up before it became public. Now, luckily, all the right-wing media immediately rushed to blame Hunter Biden.
They blamed Hunter.
But the left was smart enough to ignore the story. It was eventually hushed up. But I heard that afterwards there was a very serious conversation between Harris and Biden. And the president was mad about what happened. Hunter Biden, unfortunately, was allowed to take the fall for this.
Hunter unfortunately had to take the fall for it.
And this really angered Joe Biden. But, at this point there was nothing he could do because it was either blame Hunter or put the blame where it rightfully belonged on Harris and her staff, which, that would have destroyed Biden's campaign. Everybody knows that Hunter's a drug addict, but if people got wind that Harris was partaking in the festivities, this would cause a major problem.
So it was Harris who brought the cocaine?
No, but the cocaine was brought in for Harris. Someone from the staff brought it. Clearly some high-ranking staff.
So, if we're tracking this story, what he just said was the right wing was too stupid, and they fell for the fact that it was Hunter, and they blamed Hunter immediately, right?
Because he was
But
an
now
easy
that
target.
it's convenient for them to not blame Hunter and blame Harris, let's blame Harris. Now, is that true? No, but it was for her.
And you know this how?
He is a night.
I heard.
There's a
You
night
heard.
video.
Right, of course.
Let's close up the culture wars. We'll do our last clip of the week here with finally some good news surrounding Mark Robinson. So this is someone who's died in the wool. They I think they call themselves too extreme for MAGA, but even they are like, not this guy.
I see that you have a Trump 2024
like to have a nice uplifting clip.
Sure.
hat on. Would you consider yourself MAGA?
I would. Yeah.
And is Mark Robinson just too extreme?
Mark Robinson will be the first time I haven't voted straight Republican in my entire life at 55 years old.
You referred to his quote of saying some people need killing. That was too far for you?
That and saying that women's bodies don't belong to them. I mean, I am definitely pro-life to a degree, but I also I'm old enough to know I don't want to go back to the dangers of coat hangers.
I see that you have a Trump 2020.
She said it'd be the first time she hasn't voted straight Republican since then, which if you've read some of his posting, straight might not be the word that I would use. Not
I mean, that is proof somebody can see the light, though. That's something. I'll take it.
Sometimes people find it from when they see the light. Sometimes when they feel the heat. I don't know what I'm doing there. It's from a song. How is Waltz's DUI not brought up all the time?
I don't know. We've talked about it on the show.
We
before.
have.
I don't know
it's
why.
crazy to me, right? This is my final thought. So we'll end the show after this. But I feel like that was having a DUI in your record almost derailed George Bush, right?
Right.
It's always been a kiss of death. Didn't you once drink too much and get pulled over? The guy was going 90 in a 45 in 1995, and they're like, well, it was Nebraska.
I remember when the story broke and you texted me and you're like, can this guy get any cooler?
Okay. All right. That's it. Good night. It's been fun, dude. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Y'all let me in this damn house.
Oh, how about that? Come in the name of peace.
LMFAO. So what in the world is this?
Trump's pee-pee.
Why would you say something that stupid?
I come without explanations or solutions.
See you next time.
I'm a very sexy lady.
Cat turd.
I will not suffer this harlot.
How great! An anti-American Marxist.
Ted Cruz, go fuck yourself.
Read the news.
China is asshole.
God bless the United States.
This is
Podcasting.
Let me unmute myself. Cheers, dude. Do we good? Like we're good,
good.
tomorrow? All right, man.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
That was fun.